And of course, Jason is still talking. Shut the hell up for the intro, bro. And we are live. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico Lagan, and I am the in-house conservative. To my left, two people to my left, is Rob Ambrose, our token lefty, and together we review what's trending in the news. Our goal is simple. We want to show you that it is still possible for a lefty and a righty to get along. And when we don't, you know what we do? We actually discuss like normal human beings. Because never forget, common sense has no political affiliations.
There we go.
Like every Wednesday, we got our friend of the show, Jason D from NY Varsity Sports. What's going on, brother?
Well, life is hard trying to survive the mean streets of Hermosa Beach, California, but I can only say I'm doing the best I can.
It's a hard life.
What is Hermosa Beach like? Is it pretty bougie or what?
Good morning, neighbor. How you doing? Living a dream. Me too.
Just the neighborhood of Ned Flanders.
Yeah.
Howdly doodly.
You know what it is? It's gay as hell.
Place, if you're from
California,
the hood,
bro,
this is a strange. I'm from Flatbush Avenue. Yeah. And this is a strange place because one morning I could ask someone how to do and they say live in a dream. And the very next morning, the very same person, Nico, I'm like, hey, how you doing? He goes, just like
just PTSD.
That was a dude that he doesn't remember.
Cocaine's hell of a drug. Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yeah. Is it a little bit of a swanky, upscale, upper middle class kind of place, or because I feel like a lot of masking going on in those.
What
areas.
is it? What is it
Everyone
called? What'd you call it?
It's Hermosa Beach, California. Yeah, it's the sister beach from Manhattan Beach. So Manhattan Beach is the one that's always on the map, and like everyone wants to go there. But Hermosa Beach is where like rich people who want to be left alone.
Yep.
It's this little tiny zip code surrounded by Redondo Beach and Manhattan Beach, and
like Hermosa Beach or Hermosa Beach.
Yeah. What's that?
Hermosa or
Hermosa? Yeah. Hermosa Beach. Yeah. Hermosa Beach, California. It's my second favorite neighborhood up in the whole world. The Upper West Side, Manhattan's first. So
it's right next. So it's right next to
Manhattan Beach,
like the Strand and just King Harbor. Is it that?
Yep. Yeah. It's where all the beach pros live too. Like all of this zip code is like 60% of the beach professional players live here. And I'm a coach.
Is that why you're there?
Yeah, I moved there to do that. I was I hit a ceiling in New York. I took New York as far as I could go, and
that's pretty cool. Like we've never really talked too much about that. I know you've got your podcast. I sort of thought that was a hobby, but this is like your meat and potatoes, eh? Like you're pretty into it. For the audience, we're talking about volleyball. Jason's thing is are you a volleyball coach?
Yeah. Right now I'm coaching privately, but I was previously with LMU, Loyola Marymount University, and
oh no way, wow!
And on the AVP scene, I coached 4 teams into the main draw, and I helped one team win the AVP championship in San Francisco, Rafa Rodriguez. So,
wow.
So I'm not their top coach, but it's because I'm from New York. Like they're not gonna give me that much. I just took what I could get. Yeah, but my most not talking about my whole coaching career, but the most recent thing, 4 years ago, I had 19 girl club team, and 13 of them got Division I commitments. So out of a 19-person roster, we had this unprecedented number, like 13 of them got D1 commitments. That has never happened before. That'll never happen again, and I was part of that coaching staff. So
that's gotta feel good. Be nice.
It feels good because I'm not from here. I'm not. They're not like us. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of them. And they a lot of them go out of their way to remind me of that. But I don't have to be one of you if I'm good at my job. At the end of the day, look. At the end of the day, what does this say?
Nobody cares. Work harder. That's right.
Question for you though. Hold on.
We'll make the team.
I got time for that. What's that?
If DEI didn't exist, would you have still got the job, or was it really based on merit?
I assume is that a chirp? Is that a chirp?
Of course it's a chirp. He's
records.
He's half black in California.
Yeah. I'm a white whisperer.
Who knows, right?
I'm a white whisperer, boys.
Do you know that? You know what it is?
You know the white enough. A white whisperer is you're in a white crowd. And
do you feel like you code
black
white
things because they don't know I'm black?
Do people think that
I'm in a white crowd and they just going the fuck off on black people.
No way.
And they don't know I'm black. And It is so much fun.
Shit!
Like,
Wow.
I'll give you an example, like the OJ trial.
Behind your back.
When OJ was acquitted, someone came up to me and says, "Now black people think they get to do whatever they want." And I was just like, I said, "You don't say."
just so you know, Jason, behind your back, what white people say, like white people like me say, is that you're white enough.
Yeah. So I mean,
like, you're kind of in the middle, right?
I mean, look, like we all have our life experiences, and of course, those color, like, you know, for sure, I as a white guy, you know, I've no doubt that there are experiences that I don't.
We're not going down that road.
No, I know.
No rabbit hole. No sucking
all
cocks.
Right,
we have plenty of videos to show without having to go down that route.
No sucking cocks. Well, I'm not sure I'm interested in the show anymore.
It was the one. But it was the one. And it was French.
I cannot allow that white privilege speech. This noise. We're not talking. You were going down that route. Stop lying.
No. I was just saying. For me, I don't really see race as a major issue these days. But I mean, I'm sure you
guys got a lesson on what woke is. That's what woke is. Look, watch out for people white people that smile in your face but call you the N-word behind your back. I am that is the original definition before Donald Trump and these Republican space rangers. Woke. Oh, this is woke. Oh, stay woke. Oh, I'm tired of these woke people.
That was way before Trump. I was using the word Trump.
Trump.
Way before Trump.
I wouldn't say I agree. I would agree with you. We're talking about two different dynamics for sure. Yeah. And when I use the term, which I do a lot, it's just for lack of a better one. It's just.
I mean, I say have at it, fire away, because the term itself has been tainted forever. It's done. It's gone.
Yeah, it's woke is the same thing as using fag. We were talking about that the other day. Right. When you say fag, it doesn't necessarily reference to gay people. It's just you're being a fag right now. That doesn't mean you're gay. You're being a retard right now.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean you're a retard, but you're being fucking slow right now, right? This is the same way I use
golden. that video you guys showed the other day was golden.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everybody needs a little bit more of South Park in their life so we can shut the fuck up.
And the fact that they had the black judge, like, how do you call a guy that rides his Harley when everybody else is having a good time? Fuck!
He's a fag. The judge is yeah, it makes sense.
Guys,
all right,
you guys out there, the guys that are listening, not those two jabbers, blah 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 blah, the guys listening and the women listening out there. Before we go any further, I got a question for you. Should Canadians learn about what happened to Zelensky? Is there a lesson that Canadians should learn from Zelensky's mistake? And should we just kiss the ring already? That's the question I have for you guys.
We need to defer to a Canadian on this.
I'm not talking about the cock ring. I'm talking about the ring. The ring, as the expression says, or like we heard in what was it we're talking about the other day? It's Godfather. Yes. Should we look at what happened? Should we look at what's happening with Zelensky now that he's running back with his tail between his legs, saying that he's ready for a deal, and simply avoid that? Should we stop the bullshit and just kiss the ring already and admit that we have no leverage? That's the question I have for you guys.
Canada, what say you?
Yeah.
Oh, Canada, what say you? Well, we've talked about this all the time. Yes, we need to kiss the ring. Plain and simple.
And I'll tell you, like, there's, with what Zelensky said, what it should really be taught in is business schools and negotiation class and how to use leverage and understand when you don't have it, because that was a masterclass in what not to do, I believe.
They should, our politicians should just read this book and understand how the fuck to deal with Trump. This has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with making a deal. That is what Trump wants. He exaggerates to the maximum to infuriate you, just so that when he tells you what he wants, you're like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't that bad. So our politician needs to stop being emotional and actually make a fucking deal.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely used to think he was crazy, and I still do, but now I'm starting to lean towards crazy like a fox a little bit sometimes.
He's not stupid.
No,
that's the thing, right?
We need to get out of that mindset immediately. because
you might you might not like him. You might think he does a lot of stupid things, at least in your opinion, it's stupid. But don't underestimate a guy like Trump thinking that he's dumb. Because I was talking about this a lot. I've been talking about this a lot to Canadians, how we need to wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
And we need to start treating this as a deal because we have no leverage right now. It's not on our side. We hold no cards. And Zelensky being the perfect example of this, right? Yeah. And I think it was yesterday. So yesterday I posted, you know what? I'll share it right here. And I did this on purpose because I addressed it to Canadians, say, guys, this is what it looks like right now in Canada. And man, people did not like that. Like, I've been called names like I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a Trump, man, what was the term? There's a term that they use. And yet I'm like, no, it's called, how do you make a deal? Sometimes in business, man, you need to kiss the ring. It's just the way it is. But yesterday I posted this. I'm saying Trudeau wants tariffs. Pierre Poilievre wants tariffs. Carney wants tariff. Chrystia Freeland wants tariff. Singh wants tariff. Doug Ford wants tariffs. The only two people that don't is Daniel Smith and Maxime Bernier. That's it. That's all we got. But our uniparty that we have in Canada going on right now, where the conservative and the liberals are sounding the same, is a reality. People are hating on that so much, and I'm like, okay, how? This is the truth. It's easy to confirm. They all say it. Does that mean I agree with Trump? It doesn't matter that I agree with him or not. The point in the matter is, if you have no leverage, shut the fuck up, admit to it, stop pumping your chest, stop pumping your chest like you're a big dog, you're the big dog in the yard, and just kiss the ring. Sometimes that's because it's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about your ego. It's about the Canadians. There's not a lot of Canadians out there that have a head on their shoulders that are saying, let's put tariffs, let's put tariff. Most of the comments I see online right now, people are like, hey guys, it's time for you to wake the fuck up and start making a deal with him. So whatever the fuck you need to do, go.
Yeah. Not
that hard to understand if you ask me.
Speaking of uniparty, did you see the that clip there of all the Democratic senators in lockstep? There's like 20 or 30 of them just speaking at the exact same thing. It's pretty funny.
But that is his response to Trump, right? That's the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, I got a video today about, because we're going to talk. Might as well introduce it. We're going to talk about a few things. I have a video that explains the update with Zelensky, and they actually break down the mineral deal, which in my opinion is going to change. If I was Trump, I'd fucking bump that shit to 75%, 25%. You acted like a little bitch. You thought I was kidding. Fuck you. You get now, 25, we get now 75. He's got
an opportunity to be a little magnanimous a little bit, to sort of be the bigger person now, and I think there's value in that.
That's not normally Trump, though.
No, I know exactly. That's why I think there's value, because he's already got the I'm a giant douchebag thing covered pretty well. Now, if he can pivot here but also I'm a realist and I'm here to make deals, and I'm not going to get involved in the petty politics. Leave that to the little people. I'm the big man here. I'm here to get things done. I think that'll resonate.
That would be a great dig, because Zelensky is a small person. Like, he's a midge. That'd be a nice dig.
What do you think, Jason?
Go ahead, Jason.
Well, let's speak now that I heard the Canadian perspective. Let's speak from American perspective. And I'm your man, because like I said before, it is really hard surviving the mean streets of Hermosa Beach, California. All right. Now, first, I think we need to make a distinction. What you guys said before, Trump is not a stupid person, okay? He has symptoms of intelligence, but I don't think you have to be a highly intellectual person to be president, to know these two very, very important things. You need to be the guy who makes the least mistakes, not no mistakes, but the least mistakes. And two, you have to be green enough or masochistic enough to give a shit about your constituents. And that is where the meeting of the minds, where Trump's ego identity and how he associates with people, where the rubber meets the road. He's talked to people in private. He doesn't want his legacy to be that he's the president that got us into war, or he's the president or whatever, right? So right now, his ego identity has taken a dynamic shift that I think both Democrats and Republicans, you want to be on the same side of that ego identity, because he's rewired his brain where he's like, I want to be down in history as the guy who is on your side, right? Now, and my second thing is, you don't have to use the word kiss the ring. Somewhere between trying to go into the White House and alpha dogging someone like you running shit and bending a knee and kissing his ring and tonguing and giving his asshole a tongue bath is this gray area where you could just say, hey, I need your help. I appreciate your help. Let's do this together. Right?
Yeah.
So some would consider that kissing the ring. Someone would consider that, like Nico said in the beginning, talking and arguing like regular human beings. But we both that's not what happened last Friday. Everybody, I encourage you at home, for all of you people who are politically biased on both ends of the spectrum, watch the whole video. I thought they were very, very civil until this guy, he's kind of leaning forward, which is a sign of an aggressor. He's leaning forward into Trump's space a little bit. And Trump the whole time didn't say anything. He sat there. And again, I'm a lefty. All right. And I'm always looking for Trump to say and do something stupid. But the whole time he's sitting there, he's going left. He's looking left and right at the media, left and right at Vance. And then you can, I'll just summarize this because I could go all day. You cannot go into the White House and try to alpha dog the president of the United States.
Nope.
Certainly not Donald Trump.
Not this one.
Barack Obama would even say, hey, let's wait a minute there, okay? All right. You have fewer ships, but you have few bayonets and horses too, right?
Yes.
we have these things called aircraft carriers and planes that land on them. We have ships that go underground. They're called nuclear powered subs.
That's right. Obama wouldn't put up with it either. Biden probably wouldn't even understood what was said.
But at the same time, identity politics would have worked with Obama, and it still worked with Biden, and that's the difference. He's not doing Donald Trump is not doing politics. He's doing business. That is something that Obama did not do. That is something that Biden did not do. That's something that how do you call them? The son and the father.
Bushes.
The Bushes did politics. They were not business people. This is why it's so different the way you approach it. But when I say kiss the ring, I'm just saying that to kind of be an asshole. Like, I know exactly what I'm saying. I'm kind of putting it back into people's face that it needs to be a diplomatic solution. And unfortunately for Canada, unfortunately for the Ukraine, we're not holding any fucking cards. We're not.
I have a question for you.
We're like, let's be honest, we're not in a power position, so we have to kiss the ring. We have to.
I have a question for you. If Trump tweeted, or whether it's on his Truth Social or Twitter, right? After Zelensky said, hey, I want to come back to the table and make a deal. If Trump just tweeted, dear President Zelensky, we're in. And just that's it. Do you appreciate how that the American, it would have been the big, just almost as big a gangster move as what he did last Friday. It would have matched, like, because this way the Democrats can't say shit. Right. And the Republicans are like, at that point, they just want a statue of him. What this guy, got into, he challenged his ego and he still humbled himself or whatever. Just say, dear President Zelensky, we're in. And that would have been it. And as far as Canada's concerned, Canada.
No, hold on. Let's break it down.
Do you have a new president right now? Who's there?
But let's break it down into two portions, because let's address the American portion you just said there. I think personally, I think Trump did the right thing. He waited it out, because at the end he did the last move. He kicked him out, and he's like, you know what? We're not going to handle this. He literally disrespected JD Vance. No questions about it. And that's when Trump stepped in. Until then, and you know what? I respected that about Trump, because if you saw the interaction, he let JD Vance talk, and Trump was not even looking at them. He was just like kind of paying. I tend to look in nothingness when I'm paying attention to people, to really focus on what they're saying. And that's what, either he was bored out of his mind or he was just like focusing, but he let JD Vance take all the space that he needed until Zelensky said something where he crossed the line, not only with JD Vance, but the fact that he kind of made it feel like a threat.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to cross the ocean. And Trump is like, nah, whoa. So that was gangster. That was fucking gangster. The way he handled it. But hold on.
Seem to have a
hold on.
You finish.
Oh yeah. But what I was going to say is,
relationship.
Love it. I love the way that they interact with each other. I absolutely love it. Now, the thing I was going to say is, it was his last move. So you need to let it there. And he did that on purpose. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was so gangster. He let it go afterwards. And he's busy as fuck, considering he's only been there for 6 weeks with the amount of work. I don't even know how the fucking guy sleeps. It's fucking insane.
It's his only job.
But I don't know, but
it's all the Adderall
in the morning.
But it never ends. Like, it feels like he's been in power for a couple of years. You haven't seen a president and read in history that's done. I cannot remember. Okay. Yes, I cannot remember a president that ever accomplished that much in 6 weeks. It's insane. But the point I'm trying to make is that it was his place. His best move was just to let it slide. Let Zelensky make an asshole of himself by trying to suck up to the European countries, Canada and Turkey, and have them. He's not stupid. He knew that they couldn't do anything. They don't have the money to invest that the US have. They don't have the manpower to rebuild the Ukraine. They know that there's nobody else that are going to give him, that are going to give Ukrainians and Zelensky the deal that Trump has put on the table. So he knew. So he's just like, you know what? Go ahead. And to have the European nation just look at Zelensky and say, hey, bro, by the way, we can help you, but
no, the Americans,
we can't do it without the US. So Trump is just like, screw you, fuck you. He knew he would come back, but he didn't have to talk about it. And it's Zelensky that started posting about it on X, saying, oh, it was regrettable. I shouldn't like, I'm ready for a deal now. I'm ready to follow Trump's leadership. Like, Trump played it perfect. He
played it well.
In my opinion, perfect.
To what Jason said there, I think, and he's got all the, he's got the top advisors, and far be it from us to tell this guy what to do, but I think you're exactly right. I think, it's sort of like, I know, Nico, you're familiar, and Jason, I'm sure you are too, Machiavelli, that sort of, the prince, where the whole thesis is on power, right? The big question, is it better for a leader to be loved or feared? And I think you probably need to have a little bit of both. And I think leadership, I figured you would. And leadership, at least strong, good leadership, I believe, is about finding that sweet spot. Now, he's got all the fear in the world. People are scared of him because they're not sure if he's literally insane or whatnot. They know he doesn't give a shit. So he's got that lockdown. Now I think it will be very smart for him politically to start to lean into the loved part. He's never going to, to try to be that voice reason, speak softly, but carry a big stick. Right now, everybody knows he's got a big stick and he's not afraid to use it. I don't see a point in continuing to be the bully. I think if, as you said, if he just sort of says, yeah, we're game, be the bigger man, I think he's going to get a lot of crossover appeal from, like you said, he's gonna, the right is gonna fall into like throes of rapturous ecstasy. But like the center and even the moderate left is going to be like, okay, I can work with this guy. This guy, he's trying to get shit done. Maybe I don't agree with him all the time. Maybe I don't like his style, but I like what I'm seeing. And it just completely neuters the Democrats. The guys who were saying this is fucking Adolf Hitler redux, you know what I mean? Like, this is the next coming of fascism. We can't deny the evidence of our eyes or ears. And it's sort of like, at some point you got to say, okay, but where is it? Because we don't see it.
I think he's playing good cop, bad cop. I think that's why what they showed yesterday between JD Vance and Trump, it is the good cop, bad cop, right?
They're on the same page. They're simpatico.
But see, we've spoken about this, and this is why I'm so impressed by JD Vance, because once again, I had no fucking clue that guy was until Trump picked him as his VP. I was like, who the fuck's this guy? And when he did the debate with Tim Walz, I'm like, what the fuck? I know exactly why Trump picked him, because that was the most respectable debate I've seen in 20 years. Like, it was so respectful, and considering that Timmy Tampon is fucking insane, good on JD Vance, right? But if you look at what happened last Friday, it seems like that might be what they're doing, and let's not underestimate what they're doing either. JD Vance is the future of the Republican Party. And that guy, when you hear him talk, if you listen to him on the CPAC panel, he was all about common sense. Everything he was saying, if you did not know who that guy was and which party he represented, he could have been a fucking Democrat. You did not know what he represents outside of praising Trump. Obviously,
I know what you mean.
You don't see any Democrats doing that, but just the fact, the way he talked, it was like a bro sitting there with a beer, and he's just like, you know what? Let's bring common sense back to the. So if they can continue playing the game that they're playing right now, like good cop, bad cop, Trump is giving him enough space to look just like your average dude, giving him the voice of common sense while being a fucking insane person that you can never predict what he's gonna do.
Right.
So when he leaves in 4 years, JD Vance looks like a fucking god. He's just like somewhere in the middle, and he's going to decimate the Democrat Party for at least 4 to 8 years. Like the Democrats. And I got a great video about this. And it's just when you start looking at the big picture, you're like, they're playing such a great game right now. It's fucking insane. And in my opinion, JD Vance is the one that looks the best right now.
Yeah, Jason, you want to go, and then I want to throw something in.
Yeah,
but I want to hear what you.
Yeah, I wanted to chime in here because he left with JD Vance, and that's where I want to take off and land. Yes. I think JD Vance is the recipe for Trump's disproportional responses, right?
100%.
Trump seems like this maniacal person, but if you count, you can count on both hands and toes and lose count on the number of times that he responded. It was a response to people. Trump it doesn't go on camera and pick on everyone unprovoked unless it's Elizabeth Warren and Pocahontas. That Pocahontas thing had the entire room laughing, Democrats and Republicans. Yeah, Pocahontas could agree with that. That's what he said that on the street last night, and everyone was cracking up. So, but I wanted to say this. It might take a Vance for people to see the good side of Trump. John Jones, UFC fighter, was asked one time, are you a good guy trying to be bad, or are you a bad guy trying to be good, right? We can't answer that with Trump, but I will say this. For everyone that calls him intolerant, I want to point something out very important. JD Vance called him Hitler. Okay, he's his VP. Tulsi Gabbard called him a pimp to the Saudis, and you're a pimp to our soldiers, and you're very un-American. That's his intel director. RFK called him an existential threat to democracy. That's his health secretary, right? Elon Musk said, I voted for Biden in 2020 because this guy's a petulant child, and I want the adults back in the room. And now Elon Musk is working for him. So he has demonstrated that he, even the people that said some of the most vile things, well, not vile things, life's tough, get a helmet. Those weren't vile things. But people that were his opposition, he's willing to work with, because again, I said there's a dynamic shift in his ego identity on how he wants to be remembered, as opposed to how this guy is stepping to. And Vance, and it's great that you guys mentioned that, because I thought Vance being in that room with Zelensky was the reason this whole thing escalated. But at the end, but in this on the flip side of the coin, it defined who they were as Americans.
You're right.
Okay. I was let me tell you something. I lean left. I wish every Democratic president, I wish anyone who was a Democrat that sat in the office could have been like, hey, you don't sit here and tell us what to do. You're in no position to shame us into giving you more money we already gave you, right? Yeah. And on another note, and I got 20 seconds left on my little 1 minute thing. I want to land with this. For the people who are opposed to Trump, I get it. You didn't vote for him. But to go so far where you have Ukrainian flags on your social media profiles, I'm with Ukraine, I'm with these guys, I'm with this guy. As an American, you should be ashamed of yourself. Your hatred for this man made you post on social media, Zelensky for president. Are you nuts? What? That would make Putin want to invade on principle alone. I mean, what the fuck was that guy before he was president? A comedian or something? And I'll land with that.
And if you look at what he did, if you look at what he's doing right now, preventing elections for the past 5 years, he censored his political, how do you call it?
He got rid of enemies, parties. He got rid of all more parties.
And the only, the biggest news outlet they have is government run. So he has all the symptoms of a fucking dictator, and people are like, I stand with Zelensky.
Why is he arresting journalists? Why are journalists dying in prison? Why is his political opponents dying in prison? Why was he slaughtering people in Crimea? The Azov battalion actually put people in the church, barred the church, set the church on fire, and burned people alive. The Democratic presidents don't do that.
Well, the liberal hive mind doesn't really think of context and nuance in a lot of these things. I just want to add one quick thing about Vance, and then we'll move on. But just it's no surprise to anyone who watches the show. We both think very highly of Vance. We both like Vance a lot. But can we agree that being Trump's vice president is probably one of the hardest jobs in the political world, right? Because you've got to thread such a fine line between keeping his respect as a man, but not getting too big, because you know his ego. If he feels like the vice president gets getting a little bit too much attention, he ain't gonna like that either. So you've got to like, Pence went too far. Pence lost his respect. He didn't respect Pence as a man. That was clear. But it seems like Vance is really walking a real thin tightrope between acting in a way that Trump respects him as a man, but not in such a way that it's going to overshadow Trump. Because either one of those and you're cooked, right? Pence lost, like, he didn't respect Pence as a man. You could tell that. Pence, I was just saying, Jason, I don't know if you heard, but I was just saying, being Trump's VP is probably one of the hardest jobs in politics. You've got such a tightrope to walk, and it seems like Vance is doing that very well. Seems like Trump genuinely likes the guy and respects him.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah,
and he has the perfect. But he has the perfect type of personality for it, because I think that's how he is.
He's confident, but he doesn't need the spotlight.
He doesn't need. I don't think he wants it that bad either. He doesn't seem like, he doesn't interrupt people. He doesn't try to project. Trump projects a lot. Like, he walks somewhere and he needs people to know. JD Vance that's why I'm such a fan of JD Vance. I'm so impressed with, like, you could turn the volume off when JD Vance talk, just when he speaks, and just look at his body language. It's brilliant. That's why I've been saying, I don't know who he's been working with. I don't know who's been building him up in the back. Like, I don't know who his coach is, like his presence coach, like his speaking coach.
Because
there's no doubt.
He took a 4-hour crash course at the Joe Rogan podcast.
But even before that, credit
hours.
But he debated Tim Walz before that. Like, he's starting in.
It was great. But he made Tim Walz look like a gentleman and still won the debate.
Yeah, and
he didn't
humiliate him to the extent that Walz embarrassed. He embarrassed himself, but it wasn't from Vance.
That's all he did. But he gave all the space possible. Yeah, but he gave Tim Walz all the space possible, knowing that he's a lunatic. That if he did, he would give him the space to hang himself.
Do you remember the meme that came out of that?
Oh, that's exactly when he looked at the camera. A guy that's trying to put that allowed BLM to destroy his main city and is pushing people to put tampons into men's bathroom right then and there.
That's what we're going with.
I can't listen to you.
That's what we're going with. You're talking about 20 different policies, and we're just going to keep going back to tampons, which, by the way, none of us use. Which includes you, Nico. None of us use tampons. Okay,
but that's exactly my point. Like, that's exactly my point.
No,
like, they used the most unmasculine men possible to try to preach to men that Tim Walz was masculine. And when they gave him a gun, did you see that video? They gave him a gun, a 12-gauge shotgun, to go hunt. He couldn't even figure out where to put the cartridges in. He's looking at the gun like,
because nobody hunts with a 12-gauge. I know you guys know how to use firearms. Who the hell goes hunting with a 12-gauge, dude? I'll wait.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I have multiple shotguns that are meant for hunting.
Shooting in herds of fucking 30 deer at a time. Who uses a 12 gauge to go hunting?
I go rabbit hunting with a 12 gauge. What
the fuck are you talking about?
Man? With a 12 gauge on rabbits. How many fucking bucks you got to remove?
But you're not using. But you're not using.
Talking about a shotgun, right?
What's that? Of course, a shotgun. What the fuck you're talking about?
Dude, fucking Canadians, dude. No American is gonna go hunting with a gun they got to remove shitloads of buckshots from. Okay?
Bro, we're not allowed to.
That's Canadians.
we're not allowed to hunt with an AR. No, but this shows your lack of knowledge when it comes to Canadian. No, we don't have access to the guns that you do. I'd much rather go hunt with an AR-15. We can't. We're not allowed. But we're not allowed.
Okay.
The only thing. So that's why I'm saying, take that dick out of your mouth when you don't know what you're talking about.
Who says it's got to be
it could be a 6-inch clitoris, bro. You're right.
Okay, but I like tacos.
Female penis.
Taco I can put my meat in, bro. All right. So,
but in all honesty,
we need to get that straight and get past all these dicks.
But most Canadians. But Jason, most Canadians would love to be able to hunt with an AR-15, but we're not allowed to.
And that's
like we are not allowed to. You could hunt with a 410 if you want a shotgun that's a 410 smaller caliber, but at the end of the day, you're not allowed to hunt with the best weapons that are available. And the AR platform is one of the best fucking platforms out there for the type of. Oh, but not only that, my wife that's half my size, could use the same gun as me because the stock is retractable. You can set, it's so easy to adapt the AR platform to your body or to anybody's body, but we're not allowed to hunt with it.
Educate our audience on what a semi-automatic weapon is, okay? Because there's a lot of people that don't know a lot about guns, and when the news says they had an AR semi-automatic weapon, people are thinking it's like a machine gun. So since all of us have fired weapons before, I'll take volunteers. 3, 4, Please educate
5, 6,
our audience.
7. One pull, one bullet. That's it. That's what semi-automatic or one shell.
Means.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we should have a gun expert. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of people that I know that are gun expert. No, I mean on the on the platform, guys that represents like the NRA, that represents massive platform that we can just take questions from. But all I was going to say is most people would like to hunt with those rifles. It's just it's not available to us. We're not allowed to hunt with those platforms, even if we wanted to. And you know what? The 308 is not always the best caliber. Yeah, you show it to us every time.
That's right. I shot 40 out of 40 my last 4 times with the M16A2.
Okay, guys.
All right.
Let's start playing videos because at this point, hold on. Let me answer Prairie. What's going on, Prairie? Good morning.
Prairie, what's up?
What up?
Did you see who was with Trump when he arrived back?
The kind of regulars, eh? The same people come back and it's
Can you shut the hell up so that I can read the damn comments? Jesus.
All right,
well, hold on. Unmute. There you go. Okay, he's muted. Now, did you see who was with Trump when he arrived back at the White House? Lindsey Graham. No, I did not know. And I'm not sure what this means. I know he's a lawyer. I know he's from South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
I think she was saying like, I think that was when Jason was saying he's not necessarily intolerant because, you know, Lindsey Graham's had a lot of harsh things to say about Trump over the years.
It's business. Yeah, well, it doesn't seem like you're going to hurt his feelings. Like you can back up on you and say, you know what, I want to work with you. You could have called him the biggest asshole and still want to work with him. And he's like, it's business. So he's fine. That's one thing you got to give it to him.
Yeah. Prairie mentioned Lindsey Graham because Lindsey Graham is one of the war hawks that wants to keep this thing going. Lindsey Graham, I'm paraphrasing. I'm not quoting him directly. He said not sending American soldiers over there and having Ukrainians get killed and taking a lot of Russians with them is money well spent. So this is a guy that, you know, everyone pretends they care, but he showed his whole ass and represented a large amount of people.
He's never met a war
when he basically told the American people we are using the Ukrainian soldiers as cannon fodder to weaken Russia. And that's what this is all about. And the military industrial complex, they're the ones that take the prime cuts, right?
Well, if you had to pick one person to represent and one politician to represent the military industrial complex, it's probably Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
You know,
he's a former JAG lawyer too, a former JAG lawyer, now a civilian attorney.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's in the military. Look, he's got a long military service, but most of it was with a paper and a pen. Right, he was a chairborne ranger, so I don't want that guy to use his military service and act like he was doing. Even Waltz did more in the military than he did, so he need to sit the fuck down with that.
So Prairie's saying that her point is that he's a big supporter of
war.
Zelensky. Yeah, exactly. He wants to get it. He wants to continue doing it, and that's been my argument the whole time, right? I just want us to stop funding wars that we have no interest to be, that we have no reasons to be in.
Right.
And you know, I said it yesterday on TikTok, and people are fucking hating this one, but I said that not supporting Ukraine doesn't make me pro-Russia. It just means I care more about my people than I do funding wars that have nothing to do with me. Plain and fucking simple, right? Plain and fucking simple.
What are we? I
don't understand how it's that.
What are we, 12?
Yeah.
Tribalism, right?
It is the enemy of healthy dialogue.
I don't. 100%. Yeah. I love pancakes. Oh, so you hate waffles? No, it's a completely different conversation.
Exactly.
Not what I said. This is not at all.
Nico, you look good with your hair shaven. So what you trying to say about my hair before?
Well, you know,
stupid.
Gay. I'm French, right?
Yeah, so, it's a lot of yeah. It excuses a lot. Explains a lot.
So 40 minutes in. Let's play the first video, and I got like 5 of them. So this is gonna be fucking interesting. But this is about I found the video to be interesting because they talk about the Zelensky deal, they talk about the mineral deal and what's coming up. But let's listen to this.
A big announcement earlier that President Trump has paused U.S. military aid just for the time being to Ukraine as he prepares to speak to the nation tonight. A White House official telling Fox News Digital that the president will lay out his plans to end the war between Ukraine and Russia and to restore the peace around the world. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying that he is ready to talk and to sign a deal giving the United States access to valuable minerals that are in Ukraine. We saw this whole thing blow up, obviously, on live TV on Friday afternoon. He's trying to get this back to a place where the deal could happen. Here's Vice President J.D. Vance earlier today on Capitol Hill.
But what I think the president has said is that we can make a deal here. The Russians can't continue this thing forever. The Ukrainians can't continue it forever. And most importantly, the United States can't continue it forever.
Can we disagree with that? Like, before I let the video go, can we disagree that it's time to make a deal? Like, it's time to finish this fucking war and stop using it as a proxy war against Russia?
Yeah, I mean, it's a stalemate. The war is at a stalemate. You know, Ukraine essentially can't win. Russia could, but it probably doesn't want to do it the way it would have to, which is probably a long, drawn-out war of attrition.
Or destroy the whole country.
Yeah, I think, I mean, at this point, like, you know, a change has to happen. You know, at least the Trump administration is going in that direction. I don't know what else. What's the alternative? Just more death, more killing? I don't see that in anyone's interest.
But I think he did the right thing, though, by Trump stopping the funding, just to say, you know what, freezing the funding. We're not funding your war anymore. Now he's forcing Zelensky to sit. He doesn't. Now he does not have a choice. And you'll see, I have a highlight video of the Congress address that he made yesterday. And you'll see he kind of mentions a part, and I'm like, he seems to be doing the right thing. Love him or hate him, he seems to be doing the right thing right now.
So joining me now, Rebecca Heinrich, senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, and Sabrina Singh, former deputy Pentagon press secretary. Great to have both of you with us. Rebecca, let me start with you. Where do you see this mineral deal right now? And do you think that if it is signed fairly quickly, that pause on aid will be lifted?
That's my hope. And you can see that as soon as that announcement that the aid would be paused, things started moving pretty quickly. And then we saw that long post on X by Zelensky saying that he was sorry about the way things went down in the Oval Office. And he's ready to sign the deal. And he's got new security offerings from the UK and other Europeans to provide some other arms to them. So hopefully that means President Trump can announce some progress there, and then we can get arms flowing back into Ukraine.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying Canadians need to pay attention to this, to say, this is what happens when you negotiate from a place of nothing, when you have no power whatsoever. Because all he had to do is kick him out, stop the funding, and he knew that Zelensky would not have a choice to come back to kiss the ring, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, I think, I think it got maybe in some ways blown out of proportion because it happened in the Oval Office and the media just loves that stuff to shit on Trump again. But this is how negotiation goes, right? This is, if you're talking about deals in the business world or the political world, there's going to be this back and forth. It just so happened that was put on live TV and put on blast. But, I think Trump's got a good opportunity here to sort of back up this image of him as just a sort of guy that gets deals done, that gets stuff done. I'd like to see him not extract and not punish Zelensky for that. I think he'll come off as looking like the bigger person, and I think he'll look good. He'll definitely generate a lot of positive PR from that if he goes that route.
May I, Nico?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's your turn, bro.
Trump showed Zelensky that you need to be more afraid of him than you are the Azov battalion.
Yes.
Trump showed Zelensky, you need to be more afraid of me than Vladimir Putin. Trump showed Zelensky, you need to be more afraid of me than what your people are going to do to you after your election. He ran on a campaign and won overwhelmingly on the platform of making peace with Russia. That's how he won. The Ukrainian people wanted peace with Russia. There are coexisting cities, Crimea and a lot of parts of Kyiv, that someone's driving a bus, someone's a school teacher, someone's a nurse. They're not into this political gangster shit. But now all of a sudden, because 2 or 3 people disagree, thousands, we're almost on 1 million people that died, which I myself, in just my opinion, died for nothing. Zelensky, I'll use the last 30 seconds saying this. Biden used the 2 marbles in his head and brokered a deal in 2022 with Putin or whatever. Zelensky was on board, Putin was on board, and 2 very important things happened. And this is what everyone needs to pay attention to. 1, Boris Johnson's like, we're withdrawing support if you take this deal, which really isn't the biggest whatever, because UK pretend they support people. They don't do shit. All right. But here's the second point nobody's paying attention to. The Azov battalion said if he took this deal, they would hang him in the middle of the square. They would kill the man, and he knows that they can do it. And this is something that no one's talking about, because the media has done a fantastic job convincing the world that the devil does not exist. In 2018 and 2019, the Washington Post, the New York Times, their front page and their page 6 was, does Ukraine have a Nazi problem? Does not Ukraine have a Nazi problem? And we wouldn't
see that title these days.
We went from that to the oppositional party saying you're a conspiracy theorist. There are no Nazis. Then when you show them there are, there's just a little itty bitty amount of Nazis, right? And then when you show them there's more, well they're reformed. They're not Nazi. Stop it. You guys just went around. And I'm talking to you, the Democratic Party. You went around and you took an autistic salute by Elon Musk and said that guy's Hitler. He's a Nazi. He's a Nazi. But when it comes to actual Nazis, you have nothing to say. And this is the reason why you couldn't see Zelensky hiding the fear in his eyes disguised as anger.
And look at this. Right. This is a CBS poll. Lefty woke media. Look at what is said, and that's from 3 days ago. So this is after what happened last Friday. Look at this. Tell me this should not wake the Democrats up. 52% of people are saying they're for Ukraine, 4% for Russia, 44% are neither. And if you consider that poll, that is a very leftist polling place. But hold on. If you look, normally they say that you're 2-3 points either up or down on your results. So that would mean that Ukraine could be around 49 and neither could be at 47. So they're almost the same.
Well, and I bet you a large error. I bet you a large
on CBS. Imagine if that was on fucking Fox News.
Yeah, I bet you a large chunk of that 52% is like, yes, they support Ukraine nominally, but that I bet you they would also support ending the war. Above all else, probably at least half of those people.
Basically, like I said too, how many of those are? I'm tired of Ukraine. I'm tired of hearing about it, and that doesn't mean I support Russia.
Yeah,
that's the thing, right? I think this is a message that most people resonate with. Or they really resonate with that message, or they're completely against it. I've seen both sides, but nobody's gray area in the middle. I think the average American, the average Canadian is just fucking tired of this shit.
The elites have not done a great job of
and they scrubbed the story from the internet. Of course they did. They scrubbed the stories from the internet. Wow, because I was looking for it, because I wanted to show you guys receipts. The Washington Post. It's right there. Here's one of the stories. This is from 2017. So for the last 2 years, 2017, 2018, and 2019, that's all they were saying. They have this is the Washington Post and the New York Times and similar outlets were saying that they have an issue. In fact, oh my God, I'll do one even better. Guys, Nico Rokana. I was watching Sabrina Salvati. She's part of a Revolutionary Blackout Network. She showed a document written from Rokana, right? to the Department of Defense, signed by 40 congressmen, including Tulsi Gabbard, including Jamie Raskin, that fucking weasel, 40 signatures saying Ukraine has a Nazi problem. We do not give the Azov Battalion arms. We cannot do that. And it's and I'll find the document later, but you guys, I hope it's not hard to look up. But it was signed by 40 congressmen, so they knew this coming in. And if you expect me to believe that that country got denazified in just 3 years, I have a vaccine to sell you. You know, I have a bridge.
I have a lot of things to sell you. A lot of things
with no side effects.
I have a bridge in Brooklyn. I have a bridge to sell you. It's in Brooklyn.
Yeah. We agree, man. Let's continue. Oh, wrong video. Pow! This is
with
the one
regard to Moscow, Sabrina, and let's put these up on the screen, that there's discussion of potentially easing sanctions against Russia to get them to the table, suspending offensive cyber operations to Russia as well, and calls for elections in Ukraine. What are your thoughts on these efforts to get the deal done with Ukraine and entice Russia to the table?
Look, I think you can still get a deal done and find a way to move towards a ceasefire and then a negotiation at the table. But to suspend what is classified operations against Russia when it comes to cyber activity, or to lift sanctions, or to press this point that we should have elections in Ukraine when 20% of Ukraine is still occupied by Russia, I don't exactly understand how you do that. And so I think it's important that that is something that Russia is continuing to push, and that's a talking point that the Kremlin uses, that we need to have these elections, when I'm not sure the last time that Russia...
The only thing I'm going to say about this, and I want to finish this video, but what I'm going to say is I find it interesting. This is Fox News, right? You have this conversation where the panelists are disagreeing. She's like, you know what? I don't agree with what Trump is trying to do right now. I don't think we should get involved in this. This is something, to me, is very refreshing, because we haven't seen that from the Democrat Party in a long time. And I'm looking forward to a day.
Lying. It's a lie.
But it's the point is that they're allowed to, like, they're there saying that, you know what, Trump is wrong, which to me, okay, cool. You don't agree with him? That's awesome. I don't agree with a lot of shit that he does.
But this is the Political Orphans podcast, right?
Yeah,
we got to correct that part.
What are the lies, Jason? Specifically,
no, they said Russia's occupying 20% of Ukraine. What they're doing is they're taking statistics from cities that were already heavily populated, like
that
Crimea.
Wants to be part of Russia, like Crimea.
No, but Crimea is 80% Russia. So you can say statistically, Russia's occupying 80% of Crimea, but they're do you understand how they're spitting the truth? And if they're doing that knowingly, that's a lie.
Yeah, I
agree. And you're absolutely right, because
these fucking
Ukraine is one.
They make me shit.
But Ukraine is one of those countries that should probably be split in half, because there's such an affiliation on the East that wants to still be part of Russia, and the West that don't. So it's almost like you need to split it somewhere and just say, go back to Russia. You guys can stay Ukrainians. So I know what you're saying, but the thing I wanted to.
But Crimea, 80% of them want to be part of Russia. They did a poll in Crimea.
Yeah.
And 80%, and everybody's like, here goes Jason with rushing talking points. They're two things can be true at the same time. It could be a talking point, but it can also be factually and chronologically and historically.
A lot of times things are talking points because they're true.
How would you, Rob, how would you like for the United States to go to war against Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico says we're occupying 20% of New York City? Those motherfuckers were already there. There's more Puerto Ricans in New York City than San Juan. Do you understand the spin here? And they cover their political asses because they're not lying technically. But if they're doing that knowingly, they're lying to the American public.
To me, and like we've talked about this a lot on the show, Nico, about just solutions. Like, who the fuck are we? We're just a couple of yahoos talking on a show. We're not geopolitical experts, but I'd love to get someone on here and just ask why, like, what's wrong with this solution? A buffer, maybe a UN force or something to act as a buffer. Do, free and fair elections, make sure they're observed by international observers, and let the chips fall where they may. Because anyone who says there isn't a lot of Russian-speaking Ukrainians who want to be part of Russia, who identify as Russian, they're either a liar or a fool, right? And isn't self-determination at the heart?
Nico can tell you. Nico can tell you the answer. Nico will tell you the answer before they even came on. They will say Russia will not stop there. They're going to say Russia's set on world domination. They're in love with the USSR.
I don't. Yeah, I don't see that.
And they use a quote where Vladimir Putin said he wants to expand Russia. But you know what? They don't actually say the entire quote. The entire quote means we're not trying to expand anywhere. There was this really cool, the way it translates to Russian. Maybe Nico can tell you guys. Sorry, Nico.
We're kind of off the point here because that was not the point I was trying to make. The only thing I was trying to show is that on the Fox side, there's still people that can have a conversation. And it's not because it's on Fox that I agree with it, because obviously they're lying. So, you know, when I say that I'm not from the left and I'm not, when I look at the news, I judge the news for what it is. Don't care that it's Fox. I don't care that it's MSNBC. If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? I was just wanting to point out that they lie everywhere. I assume that they're lying right off the bat.
Okay.
But I just wanted to see that. I like the fact that they can have that conversation. Nobody's screaming at each other. It's like, remember with CNN with Scott Jennings, when he says something against the other ones, it always turns into, but did you see how they were capable?
He's so good.
But see how they're still capable of just continuing the conversation. And this is what I respect from at least that show. So let's continue, because man, we're not even halfway through this video. So let's go through, because
I'm just gonna quickly say I don't even care about media bias. I just don't like when they pretend there isn't one. You know what I mean? Like we all know that there is.
Of course, and they all lie. We need to accept that they all lie.
Or Moscow saw fair and free elections. So it's going to be really hard, especially on the elections front, for Ukraine to instill any type of election process while Russia still occupies its sovereign territory.
Yeah, while the war is going on, it is our understanding from General Jack Keane that they are not legally.
You know, screw this shit, because now I didn't watch the whole video. I didn't realize she lied that much. So I am.
Did you hear her words though? She said, she didn't say Putin. She said Russia occupying the territory. Yeah. So what she's saying is truthful. She, and in that sense, she covers her political act, but let it believe something different. You know?
Yeah. You know, this is the thing I really wanted to talk about, because I was happy to say that Zelensky's back at the table, and I think we've established that. But the part I really wanted to talk about today is the Congress, because Trump, I wanted to show this video because it referenced to the fact that Trump was going to Congress. So it was obviously recorded before his Congress address yesterday. And this is what I wanted to show, because something happened with a guy called Al Green. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I want to show. I thought it
was a musician.
Why does the name sound familiar? Who is he?
No, it's not the guy you thought.
Together.
It's not the guy you think. That guy's a nobody that I've never seen fucking before. I didn't even know that he's a Democrat congressman from fucking Texas. I didn't even know they had fucking Democrat from Texas. But hey, I found a video. He was like, the address was like 2 hours. The videos were between 2 hours and 5 hours. So I found one that's about 3 minutes long that just shows the highlights. But man, and I chose something from CBS on purpose so that we see what the left doesn't like think it's outrageous. And
Speaker,
you know, bro,
the President of the United States.
They should have had the Rocky song playing. Look at this. Did you see that? Look at this. That I had to show. I'm happy I paused it. Did you see that? This is not normal. And this, just so you know, as the video goes, when we're looking at the screen, what's on the left, they're the Republicans. What's on the left, they're the Democrats. So on the aisle there, she's saying this is not normal. Considering the past 4 years, yeah, I agree. If your normal was the past 4 years with all the woke bullshit, I agree with you that it's not normal.
We have accomplished more in 43 days than most administrations accomplished in 4 years or 8 years, and we are just getting started. We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. The chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
I could find a cure to the most devastating disease, a disease that would wipe out entire nations.
And they'd still hate
you know, yeah, but see, but that's my point. That's one of the things I've noticed as I was listening to this. I'm like, man, he doesn't make it easy to like him. Like when he talks like that, I'm just like, oh, bro, why? Why? You did not have to say this. And I understand why people don't like you. I get it, because it's very, it irritates me when he does. Donald Trump will make it easy to cure cancer. Like, bro, stop.
A beautiful disease, the best disease.
Yeah.
And
cure it perfectly. So beautiful.
These
so
people sitting right here will not.
So obviously he's pointing at Democrats, but look at that, like save Medicare, must steals, save. I'm just like, actually, if we look at what we've been finding in the House committee that's investigating USID right now, it's the complete opposite. Democrats, you guys have been stealing from American taxpayers for a very long fucking time. So very hypocritical from the
Democrats.
left to say that.
They're not. They're flailing right now. Like nothing is landing. They're just taking swings and like look at this. Like nothing is effective whatsoever. They have no answer to anything Trump is doing.
No, and it's not going to get better.
Not clap, will not stand, and certainly will not cheer for these astronomical achievements. They won't do it, no matter what. We suffer.
He's so good. See, he's so good at hey, I'm doing such a good job.
Yeah, aren't I? Isn't Trump doing such a good job?
The best job ever.
Best job ever.
The best job ever.
For the worst inflation in 48 years, but perhaps even in the history of our country. They're not sure.
No.
See, this is the part.
He was about inflation. We're sure. We know that it isn't.
It's just no, but he was so good. Like the inflation problem that we've been having over the past 4 years. But now this could be the worst, but we're not sure.
Yeah, we're not sure.
Why? Like that part, why did you not just shut up on that part? This is what people don't like about him, right?
I agree.
President, I'm fighting every day to reverse this damage and make America affordable again. Joe,
I thought that was clever, and make America affordable again.
Yeah. You guys want to talk about Al Green for like 60 seconds?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I got a video about that afterwards.
Biden especially let the price of eggs get out of control. The egg price is out of control. And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
If the woman on the left could suck his dick right now, she definitely would. Like, did you look at this? This is like, there should be some little music playing in the background.
It's been a minute before since Trump can actually find his dick, but it grew a little bit. It grew a little bit last Friday.
I'm talking about Elon Musk, bro. Look at the screen.
Oh, Elon Musk.
Not about Trump. Yeah, look at the way she's looking at him.
Someone
the dude can write a computer
power
code
and wealth are sexy. So.
What'd you say, Rob?
I was just saying, someone told me once that power and wealth are sexy to females. So I suspect.
What?
I suspect he's doing all right. He's the patron saint of the autists. He's the
and he's got a tribe of wives and kids, doesn't he? He's got like what?
Oh yeah.
What's the kid count up to right now?
Like 13 or
the ones
12
or the ones he knows about.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, if you've got the money to do it, I guess why not? It's clearly a thing for him, though. It's almost like it's like a worldview or a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Not just
see, I was saying 12 to 14. He has 14 kids.
That's a lot.
And you know what? That's not, as long as the wives agree and he's agree, it's none of our fucking business. So,
yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think people need to not get tied up in that. I did want to talk about the waste, though. Did you guys cover the waste being exposed?
Not yet. Oh, this is gonna be not yet. But this is gonna be. It's gonna take so much research to do it. I wish we could find an expert to save us the time to do weeks of research.
I wanted to highlight before we go. I wanted to highlight something that's costing us so much money that no one's pointing out. $40 million a week to the Taliban.
We already covered that, bro.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Like, this is where you learned it. You're welcome.
But
yeah, I learned it from you guys. Cool.
It's it's worth bringing up though, because I think a lot I think it just encapsulates in one sentence, sort of. You know what I mean? Like what I didn't even hear any sort of.
Why didn't they mention that though, last night? Why didn't they mention that?
Yeah,
you're talking about $60,000 here, $5 million for transgender mice, right? A $40,000 a year park ranger taking an hour and a half lunch instead of an hour. This fight over fucking chump change, and we're giving the Taliban $40 million a week.
But maybe they did though. That's what I was saying earlier. The other videos for the full speech is something between 2 to 5 hours.
Oh shit.
So he said a lot, right?
No, the full speech was 90 minutes.
Yeah, but I could not find a video below 2 hours when I was looking for it, because I normally listen to those videos myself and I cut them. I will cut them myself. But man, all the videos they started, I think they had a massive production, like the intro. It's like a
pre and post. Yep.
Yeah. So
how long was this? That's just 5 minutes. That was longer than a fucking UFC fighter.
That's why I was saying you should have had music, man. You should have had music playing in the background. You know, he should have had a bunch of rappers with microphones just like rapping to his entrance live right there.
Some twerk. I think 50 would have done it.
Yeah, you know what? Let's not give him ideas, okay?
Because we are draining the swamp. It's very simple. And the days of rule by unelected bureaucrats are over. April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in. And
did you hear about that, like, quickly? That he's going to answer the tariffs, like we can talk from a Canadian perspective.
Oh, God.
He's going to add...
April 2nd is? For fuck's
sake. So if... No, it's not about April 2nd. I don't think that's the date. What he was saying yesterday, though, is if Canadians will put 25% tariffs, as they're talking about doing, he will add another 25% on the tariffs that are
that's what I think he's talking
from Canadian
about. 8 reciprocal tariffs on April 2nd, which again,
so that would be 50%.
Which is exactly why we shouldn't be doing this. To the extent that maybe it might make you feel a little bit better, it doesn't help anything and it hurts us. So I mean, that's what 100%. Leadership is about: is doing the thing, taking it on your chin if you have to, if it means that you benefit the people underneath you. And again, we shit on this. We did a lot of this yesterday, but Canadian leadership right now is really dropping the ball.
With April 2nd, you said?
Yeah.
That's the day after April Fools. Maybe it's all a fucking joke. I don't know.
Could be.
Maybe April 1st comes. He'd be like, gotcha.
That's when our carbon tax kicks in too. So, fuck's sakes.
Carbon tax. Jesus.
It's another, 20% or something?
Put that on the monopoly board, Rob.
I think it's 23%, if I remember correctly. That's the interest.
Yep. Weird. You guys ever play Monopoly? That's going to be on the Monopoly board.
Yeah. We'll be Baltic Avenue, for fuck's sakes.
No, we're gonna be prison.
Go to jail.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Other countries, we will tariff them. That's reciprocal, back and forth. Since taking office, my administration has launched the most sweeping border and immigration crackdown in American history. The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Look at him jump up. Look at him jump out of his seats. Yay!
Well, I'll tell you what, he's not wrong.
No,
he's not wrong.
He's really
you can be right and not break out the fucking pom-poms, okay?
Yeah, but that's we're talking about Donald Trump here,
Nico.
But I agree.
He's laying waste to democratic sort of talking.
We're talking about Donald Trump here. Like, we're not talking about a regular politician. Like, he needs to be, hey, yeah, what I did. That's what he does, man.
Even Pocahontas would agree with that. He said that last night.
Did he actually say that?
He said that. He said even Pocahontas would agree. He's right over there. And everybody was like, yo.
No way.
He said that. I watched the whole speech last night.
But like, it's just
a watch party.
What he's Man.
Oh, as in referring to Elizabeth. Oh shit, sorry.
I'm also
Yeah, Elizabeth Warren.
As in referring to
her.
Elizabeth
Even
Warren. Oh,
He pointed at her and
Pocahontas.
says, even Pocahontas.
No,
could
he
agree
didn't.
with
That's
that.
too funny.
Yes, he did.
Just before
hold on. No,
Yeah.
hold on. Since he's talking about this, I'm the master at doing research, so I think I have it. I think I found a video that
I
actually.
bet you
shares
YouTube
that.
has it. Just
Oh, but this is I think. Ah, shit. Hold on. That did not work. I gotta kick him on. Stop this. I gotta make.
So while he's looking,
Yeah.
Rob,
Oh, it's
talk
already
to me about
here,
Al
man.
Green. The difference between the two.
Not
Al
yet.
Greens.
Hold on.
with no end in sight, the United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense. With no security, with no anything.
All right, guys, come on.
You want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Yes. You just said it. I have it
He
here.
is very. You hate him or love him. He is very clever. He's
Okay, I
very
got it
witty.
here.
Killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense. With no security, with no
It's like
anything.
10 seconds. He's thinking about saying it.
Yeah, is he gonna do it?
Yeah.
Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
That's exactly the clip I just played.
Then why was my clip smoother? Why was the resolution smoother than my own shot, Nico? Get your shit together.
Yours was in a small fucking screen.
Anyways,
mine was full.
Gentlemen.
You know all about the importance of sizes, right?
Yes.
I don't need to explain that to you.
Size does matter, guys.
That's what I've been told you.
Sort of one thing that sort of jumped out to me as I was listening to this is, I mean, again, love him or hate him, man. He could teach a masterclass on marketing and branding. Like, he's got all these things now that he's established pretty much from his first go around, and everyone knows exactly what it means. Like when he says drain the swamp, everyone knows exactly what it means. When he says make America healthy again, make America affordable again, like everything, once he established make America great again, he can just go in so many directions. And it's just such a masterclass of like branding, right? Everything ties into exactly. Now you could say make America something again, and no matter what, people are gonna go back to Trump. Like everything, it's just, again, that's kind of what we're talking about. He's not dumb. Maybe he's not the most intellectually curious person, but
no, he's got symptoms of intelligence,
but he's very witty. It's one thing you gotta give him. He's very fast. Like he thinks on his, like he is very good at getting insulted and just like spins it right away. And he got balls. Like he looks at people and he insults them right in their faces in front of people. He does not give a fuck. So love it or hate it. But like Prairie's saying, or for fuck's sakes, Trump says some really stupid things. And I agree. Yeah. He's right in what he's saying, but the way he says it, you're like, you're such an ass. Such an ass.
I also think that there's a demographic of people like he just said, he can walk on water, and those people will be like, oh, it's because you can't swim, right? So there's going to be those haters are going to hate type people, and I think he's doing that just for them. He's like, you guys need something.
That's why he got elected, bro.
You guys need something to talk about in the morning, tomorrow morning that has nothing to do with policy. I'm gonna give you for you guys. This one's for you. You're fucking woke. You're pussies. Nobody cares. Work harder, right? That's so he's like this. So he's appeasing to all demographics. Make America great again. That's for his Republican base. I'm proud to America first. That's for his Republican base. It's the economy, stupid. It's for everybody else that basically decided this vote, which is 41% of America is independent. So it wasn't the Republicans that voted them in. They're the least populated party in the United States. So it wasn't the Republicans. It was the Indies and the exodus from the Democratic Party.
That's right.
He's very clever. What he's doing is very clever, and he keeps his name in the news day in, day out. You cannot look at the news without having the first 5 to 10 articles about something that Trump did yesterday. Yep. It seems that every day, even if he didn't do shit, his name is still there. He always tends to he knows what to say to the woke media for them to talk about him. He knows what to say to the middle people to talk about him. He knows what to say that Fox is going to eat up. It's, again, love him or hate him, he is not stupid.
No, he's got symptoms of intelligence.
He's not dumb.
Yeah, he's got symptoms of intelligence. That's what I said.
Prairie said, yes, he's putting money towards some sort of AI medical thing. It's called, he's going to invest $500 billion with Oracle, a company that specializes in, that is trying to specialize in developing AI, and the technology would develop mRNA vaccination based on the specific type of cancer that somebody has. So they would use AI in order to analyze somebody's DNA to figure out what's going wrong with them, and then use AI to build a specific medical solution based on the mRNA technology to address that problem. It is scary as fuck.
Cancer.
Not
so good for like viruses, not so good for the flu, not so good for like COVID, because when it mutates, you need the new mRNA for that. But like for cancer, for like a singular strand, Nico, I mean, you know a lot about this subject.
I can't approach it here.
But I think you know a lot about it.
But I can't approach it here.
Right. Okay.
I can't.
Okay.
Or else I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble with addressing that.
But before,
and if you haven't had your 8th booster, you know what? You can go kiss my ass. All right, YouTube, I got your back on this one. This guy did not get his 8th booster. All right, you already see his head shaved and he works out. He's already a white supremacist, and now he's not getting his booster.
Can you guys see my screen here? I just want to just something that he talked about the border, right? And I think how much he's done. And this is from Fetterman. This is a tweet from Fetterman yesterday. Nico, me and you have talked about him. Yeah, so he says this is when we become the party of chaos. Look at these statistics on monthly border encounters. Yeah, when you import the size of Pittsburgh every month at the border, that's true chaos. This is a problem with Democrats. They allowed Trump it's just political malpractice. They gave him such an opening, and look at the numbers over here. How much has changed so far in just a few short months? It shows that everything the Democrats have told us about immigration is wrong. It is not quite as impossible, or not even nearly as impossible as they're telling us that it was. So what you're telling us, it was just a choice after all. And if that's the case, then you gotta run on that platform. If you want open borders, that's fine, but you gotta run on that. They just backdoored this, and this has happened all throughout the West.
Hold up, you live in Jersey, right?
Me? No. No, I live in New Brunswick. Gotcha. Oh, there is a New Brunswick, New Jersey, but no, I live up kind of up near Maine. I'm not too far from the East Coast, but if Democrats ran on open borders immigration and they won, I would say okay, that's democracy. But that's not what they didn't.
They lied. They denied it the whole way through.
But do you see how the voters? Do you see how the voters found out, Nico? The voters found out when Greg Abbott took all of these immigrants, put them on a bus, and dropped them off at Martha's Vineyard.
Senator from Texas.
That was a great.
I'm a fan of Greg Abbott. Move. That dude is a gangster. I fucking love that guy. That guy is a no.
I was like,
he's not. Having spent a lot of time in Texas.
Any criticism they gave against that, he could just turn around on them. Oh, so you don't like them? Well then.
Yeah, bring us your tired, bring us your poor. Yeah, guess what? I got a present for you.
Yeah, lots of tired and poor.
On the Greyhound bus. They get the Greyhound bus, and they're in your fucking vacation home that you don't occupy.
Well, and
Martha's Vineyard.
But if you spend any time in Texas, he represents Texas extremely well.
Yeah,
that's why he should have, I guarantee you, he wears cowboy boots with his suit, and when he's not on camera, he has the hat. He probably has a 6-shooter sticking out, like the old school revolver right on the side. The dude is Texas 101.
I feel like what you two said. Remember, you were talking about how frustrating it is to say if you have an issue with like if you want to stop the Ukraine war, it means you're pro Russia, and how ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of the same dynamic going on with immigration. Like keep that
up, keep that for in reserve, because I got a video for you.
Okay.
I got that video for you too, because I agreed with that guy and I was like, the fuck. I agree with this guy. What the fuck is going on? A Democrat calling up Democrats, and it's not Featherman, it's somebody else. So
okay, cool.
That video's for you. I'm literally like,
yep. Fetterman
right down
was
the
also
middle.
on Rogan's podcast. Fetterman went 2.5 hours with Joe Rogan too.
I'm becoming. I don't want to say I'm a fan of him, but they need him.
Yeah,
like the Democrats definitely need a guy like Featherman to
just
because he's speaking. He's just speaking the truth.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But hold on. Let's continue this video here.
Working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Today I received an important letter from President Zelensky of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Simultaneously, we've had serious discussions with Russia and have received strong signals that they are ready for peace. It's time to end this senseless war. If you want to end wars, you have to talk to both sides.
That's probably my favorite part. I'm going to end it right there because the rest is just people clapping for him for 20 minutes almost. But what he just said there, he's absolutely right. You cannot expect to cater a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine if you don't allow the conversation to happen. If you don't talk to both parties and say, you know what do you think of this plan? Are we going ahead or not? And this is the part that's the part that Democrats have been preventing for years. And even now, when I posted that post yesterday saying that the fact that I don't stand with Ukraine does not mean I stand for Russia. I stand for Canada and I stand for the US. That's the fucking truth. So one does not stop with the tribalism. At this point, who gives a fuck what you think about Ukraine and Russia? If you want to end that war, we will need to talk to both sides and cater a deal that makes sense to both, or else it's never going to happen. So it's just, again, it's just common sense. But what he said there is absolutely right, because that's a door that Biden never opened. Like, he never opened the door to sit down with Putin because everybody was destroying Putin and Putin this, Putin. Yeah, you know what? Don't like the guy. That's fine. He's still at the head of one of the most fucking powerful country on the planet. And if you want to cater it, bro, there's a good reason why there was a Cold War between the US and Russia. And I'm sorry, but the US is not that much more powerful than Russia. I would argue that Russia is probably more powerful than the US because they're backed by China. They've done deals in the past where they will back each other up. That is fucking like a Russian/China type of war is fucking scary. But all I'm saying, we need to be able to speak. If Trump is capable of catering a deal between the two because he took the time to sit down with them and build a deal, even Democrats on this one should be happy because this war needs to stop. If you're not okay with the war stopping, that's because you're like that Lindsay guy from earlier and you're just profiting from it. You're making fucking money on it. And that I don't care. If you're a Republican and you're a Democrat, if you're okay with continuing the war, you're making money off of it, you fucking asshole.
I was just, as we were talking here, I'm trying to think like, what war has ever ended without talking on the other side? I World War II maybe, but like they had to go into Berlin and actually unless you plan on going into Moscow and taking Putin out, which I don't think anybody is.
Good fucking luck.
You got to talk to the guy, right? You can't. The fact that that's seen as partisan is insane to me.
It's bipartisan. Rob. Okay. I'm not letting the Republicans off the hook on this one. And
no, that's a good point.
I'll give you an example. Tulsi Gabbard a few years ago went to there was an allegation that Assad was gassing his own people. So Tulsi Gabbard, along with another congressman, went on something we call a fact-finding mission. They didn't like it. They got picked up and they wound up having a sitting and talking to Assad. And all the media was saying she's an Assad apologist. Oh, she wants to talk to whatever. And they ignored her answer. And her answer was with the only other available option being war. With the only other available option being war. She says, I prefer to talk. So think what you want. She says, we don't make peace with our friends. We make peace with our enemies. And that is how diplomacy works, right? And getting back to your Russia thing, Nico, the reason why nobody wants to approach the thing is because we spent the last 3 decades, pretty much since 94, it's pretty much since the Cold War ended, talking about Russia. So if you so much as open your mouth about Russia and actually have some kind of empathetic understanding, I'm being redundant here, then all of a sudden you're a Russian Putin puppet. You're a Russian asset. You're a useful idiot, right? I can go through the names, and they have the gall, the unmitigated gall, the nerve to say that when you defend Russia or when you try to emphasize something about Russia, you're using Russian talking points. You understand what I'm saying? But I want to spend the last 30 seconds saying, have a little empathy and see their plight. The people of Russia, not Putin, are hearing on the news that we rigged their election, or we rigged they rigged America's election in 2016. They're hearing on the news that there's a P tape, there's a dossier, there's a Steele dossier tape. They're hearing on the news that Tulsi Gabbard is an asset and like this inside person. It's scaring them to death. America's a superpower, right? If Russia thinks that America thinks that's true, these guys, Russia's walking on eggshells. They're walking on edge, right? So nobody's taking into consideration the witch hunt that Russia had to go through. And by the way, everything I just said, that long list of things, turned out to be untrue. The Hunter laptop thing was ruled dismissed as Russian disinformation by 51 former intelligence agencies, not current, because former, you could say what you want, and nobody, what are they gonna do, fire you? You're not working anymore. So and I wanted to take that moment and I'm going to jump off before someone says I've gone too far in the paint for Russia, because that's how scared they made us to talk about both sides of this argument. And like Nico said, two things could be true at the same time. You could think Ukraine's the most corrupt country in the world, and at the same time not agree with Putin. Are we 12?
Yeah.
And I've been called just today, I think I've been called 4 or 5 times on the same post that I'm a Russian bot for saying that I don't stand for Ukraine and I don't stand for Russia. Because I tell Canadians that they need to kiss the ring, that we have no leverage. I'm like, right away, I'm a Russian bot. But I had a discussion with a guy called Jeff Evely this week, and he mentioned something that was actually very clever. He's a big fan of The Fourth Turning. I don't know if you guys have read that book by William Strauss. Brilliant book, but it explains that that 4 generations is the cycle of the tough time creates strong man, strong man creates good time. So, but this is where the expression is based off. It's off that book. But all to say that he was explaining, and what you were talking about, Jason, that's why I'm talking about this era of the 90s era, where we've never forgiven what happened with Russia, and we blame them for everything because we can't allow ourselves to maybe put ourselves in their position, like you were just talking about. And he brought up that reason, and that's not what he was referring to, but I'm going to put those two together. What he was saying is one of the biggest problems that we're seeing right now in the US, both in US and Canada, is the fact that baby boomers are in charge. So they're the ones that are pushing all those woke ideologies, because they're the one at the top. They're the one at the top of those corporations. They're the one at the top of education. They're the one that holds the power. It's the baby boomers that were born right after the strong men, like after 1945. So they had the best time in North America history. Baby boomers have. But what's interesting is, but if you understand the Fourth Turning, that's the first generation at the beginning. They're the ones that are going to start creating the bullshit. They're the one that come from good times. They're going to create the bad times where men are going to be needed again. But the point I'm trying to make is that the reason we're so scared as a nation, and I'm not saying me, but a lot of the nation is still scared of Russia, is because of those baby boomers. In their adulthood, they spent a good portion of their adulthood being scared of Russia. And guess what? Most of them are liberals. They sit on the Democrat side of things. So they're looking, every time you hear Russia, they're like,
their childhood was spent being traumatized. So
of course it is, bro. Of course they are. If you're not able to look at that solution that Trump said. Like, however you feel, if you cannot put your feelings aside about how you feel about Russia to say we need to sit down with them in order to have a deal. The only people that are attacking me when I say, because believe me, I get attacked from the right and the left equally right now.
You're
but
doing
the only
something right.
people, no shit, huh? But the only people that call me Russian bots, the only people that call me an apologist and all that crap are woke people, are the same people that are pissed off at Trump for existing. Not even fuck what he's doing, just for him existing, they're pissed at him. That's why I'm saying this. It's just, to me, there's a correlation between the fact that the Cold War happened, lasted for at least a decade, and the same people that don't want Trump to sit down with Putin are the same people that vote against him. And I'm not saying that at one point you need to put those feelings aside and just say, what's the only solution we have right now? And if we want to end this war, we need to speak to Russia, plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, like I've made no secret about on this show. I'm just, once we pretty much started right when Trump took office, and I said, as a liberal,
we did this pretty much the same day.
Yeah, it was like our first show. Basically, I'm gonna forget everything I know about this guy, everything I feel about him, and just go by what he's saying. And it makes a huge difference. Like you feel like you can actually see it. Doesn't mean I agree with everything I said. He does. And of course we call him out all the time too. But it just feels a lot healthier of a mindset. Cause that first time he came around, I had some TDS like most people on the left. Right. And it's just not, if you're an intellectually serious person and you just kind of want to get it right, it's not a good mindset to be in, to sort of have entire blocks of thought blocked off because of the source of it, because of who it comes from.
You need to listen to both sides.
And Nico, this is why you guys have me on this show, because I am here to be your savior. Your savior is here. Nico, could you go on the big screen and show this quote that could say it all for me? Where is it?
Oh, that is so freaky. Hello.
Fractals.
Right there. Can we go big screen on that?
Yeah, give me a second. Oh shit, I was about to kick you out. That's not the right thing. Here we go. They defend Big Pharma. Hold on, I'll read it. They defend Big Pharma, bad politicians, and the military industrial complex. Trust me, it's not you.
So, rule number 1 on this argument, ladies and gentlemen, find out who's at some point they're going to show their whole ass and pick a side. They're going to defend Big Pharma. I got into a 10-minute argument, and this person was the trifecta. They defended Big Pharma, politicians, corrupt politicians, and the military industrial complex. Anybody that spends more time white knighting for them pretty much shows what side of the argument, and you know how to respond appropriately. Rule number 2, make sure you read the entire quote. Because this thing about Vladimir Putin, about him of saying he wants to take over with this and that, the entire quote was then the way it translated from Russian. I want people to read the entire quote and decide for yourself. 3, last week, before you start taking sides on Zelensky or Trump on what happened on Friday, watch the entire press conference. Watch the behavior. You don't have to be a behavioral psychologist to conclude that if you watch this whole thing and where it steered and how it escalated, and if you still feel the same way about Trump, that's cool. But what I don't want people is to take these little snippets, right? And that's been the problem with the news, guys. And
that's the playbook. That's how they do it, right? They use the snippets.
Yeah, and I'll land with this. They tell you what happened before you even know the news, instead of us getting the news and deciding what happened.
Yes, yep.
And that's both sides.
That's what we go on about all the time on this show.
That's why Nico's catching it from both sides.
But like the Fox News clip earlier proved our point, right? It's not just, I'm not accusing CBS to do that. I'm not saying it's a leftist problem. It's a news problem.
That was so slick. Occupying Ukraine.
But they use the same tactics, the same wording. They use it the same. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're on both extremes, your message might be different, but your tactics are absolutely the same.
Go to Chinatown, whatever neighborhood, find out who's occupied. Toronto's being occupied by China.
A bunch, actually, it's a bunch of Asian women with a lot of white dudes, or a lot of black dudes, actually. That's probably who's occupying Chinatown.
Oh, I got one question. How you know?
I hang out around enough white guys, and I've hung out with enough black guys to know that for some reason, black guys and white guys do like Asian women. I don't get it. They're not my thing. I like women with curves, not women that look like little boys, but that's a preference, yo.
I think there's the stereotype of submission and submissiveness that I think appeals to a lot of guys. More of a cultural like whether it's true or not, I don't know enough about Asian culture.
Asians got some good ass hair though, man. If you like to play with hair, let me tell you something. That might
hair is very important to me. Okay, as you see, hair is a big thing to me.
Nico, guys will fucking stay with a girl. She has nice hair. She could rob a bank. Like, if my girl had nice hair, she could rob a bank, and you guys would be like, Jason, your girl just robbed a bank, and I'd be like, yeah,
look at that hair,
motherfucker love me. You don't understand. That bitch loves me. Okay.
One of my bros is into feet.
I don't understand that one. I don't understand that one.
Hold on. Like, my bro's into feet. Clearly, Jason's into hair, and I'm ready to bet that Rob's girlfriend's Asian.
I'm a hair whore. I'm a hair whore, dude. I really
of course, we got it. It was very clear. We got it.
That other thing that I mentioned that guys like about
my wife didn't rob a bank. She just Black Rock.
There's something yesterday from the video we just watched from the Congress hearing, not the Congress hearing, but the Congress speech that Trump gave yesterday. That went viral. It's Al Green. That's what was trending the most this morning on Google Trends. So I wanted to show, because they basically just went super fast over it. And considering it was CBS, it was impressive that they didn't talk about it more, because in my opinion, what the speaker did was racist, because that guy's clearly not white. So whatever he did is obviously racist. But I wanted to show the video of Al Green, of Congressman Al Green. I wanted to also, the funniest thing is when I hear Al Green, I'm thinking about a really trashy white guy. And that is not what he looks like. Like, that sounds like some really like
white trash, like from Alabama or something. Like, and I'm down to Al Green place.
I need y'all to go first on this one. I'm gonna
but hold on. I'm gonna play the video so that we are all on the same page here.
Business optimism saw its single largest 1-month gain ever recorded, a 41-point jump.
Members are directed to uphold and maintain decorum in the House and to cease any further disruptions. That's your warning. Members are engaging in willful and continuing breach of decorum, and the chair is prepared to direct the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order to the joint session.
Fucking JD Vance, huh?
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
So, before we go on this, I wanted to share what he said afterwards, because he's getting kicked out, and you can't hear what he's saying. Like, you have no idea what he's complaining about. So before we go at this, because this is for you guys, like, I want you guys to comment on this, but let me play a video, like just 2.5 minutes. I'm not going to interrupt him, but he's going to talk about why he did this. Okay.
I was making it clear to the president that he has no mandate to cut Medicaid. I have people who are very fearful. These are poor people, and they have only Medicaid in their lives when it comes to their health care. And I want him to know that his budget calls for deep cuts in Medicaid. He needs to save Medicaid, protect it. We need to raise the cap on Social Security. There's a possibility that it's going to be hurt, and we've got to protect Medicare. These are the safety net programs that people in my congressional district depend on. And this president seems to care less about them and more about the number of people that he can remove from the various programs that have been so helpful to so many people. It is the best way to get it across to a person who uses his incivility against our civility. He is a person who has consistently been used incivility against civility.
Incivility? Is that even a fucking word?
I don't know. You mind if I take this first, Jason, and throw it to you?
Please.
Go for it.
Yeah, so I mean, how I feel about that actually changed a little bit once I heard what he was talking about. I mean, to me, that's politics. That's a legitimate political issue, right? That's not culture war. That's a thing that people on the right and left are going to feel differently about, but is a serious issue. I actually don't know enough about the budget. I don't believe Trump does have a mandate to cut Medicaid. Personally, I don't know that he ran on that. Now you can say he got such a large, he won that whatever he wants to do is his mandate, and that's fair too. But I guess the first thing is I don't think cutting Medicaid is going to be popular with a lot of Trump's supporters, right? A lot of them are on Medicaid. But to me, I almost I don't like how he did it. But I mean, that's the meat and potatoes political issues that I think we should get back to actually fighting. Stay out of the culture wars, stay out of the identity politics, talk about the meat and potatoes issues that affects real Americans. What's your take on that, Jason?
Free speech. The First Amendment is there to protect you from government persecution, right? And like I said last week, free speech is not a dull butter knife, but a double-edged sword. So if you decide to exercise your free speech in an environment that has consequences, you have to be understanding of the consequences. Yep. This man was mindfully aware of what was going to happen, and he was mindfully aware that people were going to ask why. And maybe he might have been one of these guys that's trying to get his voice heard, and maybe in a lot of congressional hearings with hundreds and hundreds of members where they can't hear everybody, but they certainly hear the same people every fucking week, because we never heard of this guy before that. I will say in his defense, he did what he had to do. And I will say in Donald Trump's defense and the Speaker of the House,
he had to do.
They did what they also did what they had to do, right? If you break decorum, you have to leave. So it worked for everybody, because Trump could be like, if it's civil, you could stay, but if you boo, then you disrupt it, you can't. But you can clap for 5 minutes. That's not slowing down my speech, right? But as far as Al Green is concerned, and I'm gonna give you the floor, Nico, I want to say this. I'm so in love with you.
Is that him?
You want me to. It's all right with me.
Well, shit.
That is Al Green. Al Green, one of the best songs of all time. Let's stay together. Let's stay together.
Just go ahead.
All to say that there's a part of the video that I should have kept on is just he keeps on blabbing and repeating the same thing. But at one point he does say, and I'm going to give it credit for that he is not looking to, he understands that there will be consequences to his actions, that there were going to be consequences to his actions, and that he will accept whatever the punishment is. He will not question it. So, I found it interesting because I'm not agree with him or not. And I don't know enough about what he's saying to say, because I've been looking, and it sounds to me that he's really much exaggerating on what he's talking about. Like he seems to be making a very big deal out of almost nothing. But I'm not going to say that it's automatically right, because I'm not finding a lot about what he's talking about. Like I'm finding they're talking about cutting 10%, but they're mostly talking about administration staff. I don't see numbers right now as we speak that shows that he wants to really get rid
I
of
got it. Yeah.
how much people are actually getting, because I would agree with you, Rob. That is a problem. That is, I would argue that the people that use those benefits are probably both
It's a
sides of the aisle.
legitimate grievance for
But
them.
it's both side of the aisle. It's not a Democrat problem versus a Republican problem. And I will agree with you that it's one of those 20% issues that, you know, we try to concentrate on the 80 that goes across the board. That's probably part of the 20, but that's something that still needs to be discussed, because there's two sides of the story. Like, should they get more? Well, you know what? It depends on the person.
But
because I know where we're from. No, but hold on. Where we're from. No, but the thing is that if you look at Canada, for example, it's very easy to cheat the system when it comes to welfare, which is the equivalent of what they're talking about.
Oh, I know.
And they get massive. But see, that's my point. How many people have I met in my life that are in shape just like I am, that actually take advantage of that, and then they work under the table? So don't give me. So the thing is does that mean that they shouldn't be investigated? Fuck no. Medicaid, every single program that is being run by the government on taxpayers' money should be investigated. Those should be able to go through it and say, is that right? Is that wrong? And then take a decision from there, put it back to Trump's administration and say, is it good? Is it bad? What are we doing with this? But I don't want the left to tell me that those shouldn't be allowed to look into this. That's bullshit. Yeah, because I know I've met a lot of people in my life that took advantage of this shit. So don't give me, just like USAID. Oh no, this shouldn't be investigated. Bitch, please. Bitch, fucking.
Well, if you support those programs, if you strongly support a strong social safety net, you should be leading the charge against.
Yeah, we pay into, by the way.
Those are the things that
we pay into
those programs.
That's social services that is funded by taxpayers' money. This is things. This is thing that's taken right off your paycheck.
These fucking
and if you want those programs to exist, you should be the first one to fight against corruption, because that's what's going to turn the public.
And Nico's right on a bipartisan basis. The top 10 poorest states in the United States of America, I just looked it up.
Alabama. Hold on. Before you go, Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi. That's probably top 3.
West Virginia, Kentucky, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and somewhere at the bottom of that, believe it or not, is New York. Right? It's the richest and the poorest. Right? But my point is,
West Virginia,
8 of those 10 states voted what? Did they vote Democrat or did they vote Republican?
Yeah.
So this guy is making an argument for his party and for his I guess for his constituents, right? But I think for the people who are suffering from TDS on both sides of the aisle, because again, there are people that think Trump, can take a shit and they'll petrify it and they could sell it for $20,000, right? Those people need to understand that don't love this man enough where he's going to do things that hurt you, because that's got to be the worst case of Stockholm syndrome you've ever seen, if you keep loving someone that's introducing policies that hurt you. If in fact that I'm not
what he's doing.
This guy's right. If this guy's saying what is true, we don't know that yet, right? We Medicaid and Medicare, that's something Doge can spend a year on. You understand what I'm saying?
And I think they should, right?
Yeah, well, they have to stop doing this nickel and dime shit so the media can do it. Oh, this $5 million here. That's a lot of money to me, and 60 million.
But it's
here,
not in the grand scheme of things.
No, but you guys said something that mathematically fucked me up. $40 million a week to people, to the Taliban, to people that are trying to kill us, or that were trying to kill us. Al Qaeda. We're probably giving them money because Syria has the oil.
What about he lists 11 or 12
out there, and Al Qaeda's
there was like 12,
right? So,
but
fuck all this. Oh, I found 66 million here. Oh, there's 100,000 there for transgender mice. Oh, wow, Sesame Street in Iraq. Oh, we caught you. No more small potatoes, Elon Musk. Show some balls and go after the big banana, even if it goes against your self-interest.
I would love, I want to close this discussion on this. 2 things. One is Al Green is a Democrat from Texas.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can tell that he's in a Republican state, yet he's a Democrat.
It could be Austin, though.
Of course. And I spend a lot of time in Austin. 100%. But my point is that he's in a very Republican state, but he's a Democrat. So we have to agree that it's bipartisan at this point. This is not about Democrats versus Republican, because this is a bipartisan issue. Now, the only thing I wanted to say about Doge, if they really want to change the US, I don't want to make this a conversation because it's a massive rabbit hole, but if they really want to change the US, let's review the past 20 years of CIA spending, of the Pentagon spending, and explain to me how they're capable of losing trillions of dollars every year without ever having to explain themselves. If those really wants to do damage, this is where it's going to be done.
Well, you're
talking about
the lifeblood of the military-industrial complex, and I don't even know if Doge has that kind of power. I don't know if they're going to be able to go after.
And will Eli want to operate against his self-interest? He's a military contractor.
He is.
But it's exactly my point. If you really want to get
if he doesn't do that, he's full of shit. This is just this whole nickel and dime show is all bullshit. He doesn't do that. $850 billion on an eighth straight failed audit. The Pentagon failed 8 straight audits for almost which pretty much means $1 trillion. Do we agree? It's 850 billion, but it really.
Oh no, it is $1 trillion.
If you start adding it up, it's probably $1 trillion. You know what I mean? And you're trying to tell me that billions, like 3 more digits, you can't fucking go after waste where there are 3 more digits at the end of that number involved. And to me, it's a dog and pony show, and it's great weaponizing Democrats and Republicans against each other. if this, I'm telling you straight up, and I said this last week, if he goes after them and goes after people that operate against his self-interest and his own money, I will know that man's for real, and I will be an Elon guy. That's how I know. I like him already. Don't get me wrong, right? But this whole thing, at the end of the day, nobody's gonna remember $60 million, dude. It's weird saying that. Not when you have billions, not millions. Throw 3 more digits on that, bro. Billions, things that can end homelessness. We right now we already have more houses than homeless people in the United States. We can find a way to end homelessness. Oh, by the way, 60 Minutes fucking lied. By the way, that's another episode. 60 Minutes was fact checking Donald Trump because he said 350 billion. They're like, no, it's actually 120. When the same news outlet a week ago said we have no idea. So they're going to come up with a number after the same people said that we actually really don't know. So that's a lie too. Bunch of fucking liars from Democrats and Republicans.
But that's what mainstream media does, and that's why shows like this exist. And that's why some of the stuff I can't mention anything right now, but we are working on something that's going to be fucking massive to try to combat exactly that, to give people a third option.
Just like 20 seconds here on Al Green, just because to close that discussion. I think what I really like, like you said, Nico, we actually agree a lot on this show, probably 80% of the time. That would probably be one of the 20% we don't, if we got in the meat and potatoes. But that's the stuff that I think that's where the politics should be. That's where the fights and the arguments and the debates should be, in those meat and potato issues, not on fucking culture war issues, not on identity politics, just the stuff that's affecting Americans and Canadians and everyone else.
I'd love to see that conversation, because where you and I'm going to finish on this, but one of the things I've been saying for years is that they should blood test those people. If you're living on government funding, taxpayer funding money,
I support those programs, but I agree with that.
If you have alcohol in your blood system, you have drugs in your blood system, you're not looking for a fucking job, asshole. Like, there's a problem that needs to be addressed there. This is my point, right? There needs to be, if you're going to take money from taxpayers and you're not going to be working, you're not going to be providing something to society, you're going to be milking it, there has to be a reason why. You need to be able to explain yourself. If somebody that gets
right,
there needs to be some type of accountability that needs to be put in place.
Yeah, if I'm paralyzed from the waist down, give me a fucking drink, though. You know, come on, stop.
Oh yeah, but hold on. But this is why I'd say there has to
be a fucking drink, dude.
There has to be an openness for case by case situation.
For sure.
If my dick didn't work, I'd probably drink a lot too. Let's be honest here.
There's there's, you know, I mean.
Yeah, but if you're paraplegic, bro, I grew up with a guy that was paraplegic and his dick didn't work. That must have been the most
there's a
depressing
huge
thing in the
conversation to be
fucking
had
world.
about how we do
Yeah.
that. I think, Nico, probably what you're getting at is it seems like on the left, they just
accountability
want to shut that down immediately. You can't have any discussion.
I just want the conversation to be open and honest. That's it. Now,
hey, Nico,
I got one more video. No, we need to stop it. We only have 5 minutes left. There's one video. This is for both of you, because I reposted this saying I agreed with him, which kind of hurt me a bit to admit that, because I really, I'm not a fan. I am not a fan of Stephen Smith at all.
I take it and leave it.
Huge fan of Stephen A. Smith.
But he was, this video was taken from yesterday. He was on The View, and he actually schooled Whoopi Goldberg. And man, you don't need Silas. I don't need any blue pill
to
get a boner after I watched it. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So Stephen A. Smith schooling Whoopi Goldberg. Check this out.
I'm always
about him winning. It was an indictment against the Democratic Party and what the Democratic Party was offering to American citizens. We might sit up there and talk about, hey, you should be a party for the working class, which the Democratic Party was once known for. They're not known for that right now. Why? Because their message was catering towards others and towards other issues, and they forgot about the people that brought them there, that elevated the Democratic Party to what it was over these last few decades. That's why they lost. He didn't win.
Well,
the
let's
Democrats
remind
lost.
people what those issues were.
Sure.
Let's remind people what those issues were.
We can do that.
Making sure that families had what they need, SNAP, making sure stuff is there, making sure that the America that we all grew up in, where you could come and be whoever you were supposed to be or want to be, you still have that right. All these things are the things that the Democrats have always said. But now we have a guy who says, yeah, you know, I'm going to bring down the price of eggs, but first I'm going to cut all these jobs, and I'm not going to see why they need to be cut. I'm just going to cut them. Because I'm going to put people in. Well, that's what he's doing. He's doing all
and alienate all our friends around the world.
But you're talking about what he's doing. But before you brought that up, you brought up the message that the Democratic Party was disseminating. I'm challenging you on that. That is not what they were doing. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the intent.
We did it.
Wait, I was here too. I was alive and breathing right here on the air, talking to everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, he. I think. Yeah, I think Whoopi's recollection of what the Democratic messaging was not necessarily, you know, it's kind of like what we were talking about with the Russia thing. Like, she's taking one position and then extrapolating all kinds of things. I don't think saying that, like, you know, she's talking about like keeping families together and giving them what they need to survive. Yeah, but what about American families, right? They need to be able to survive and thrive as well. And to say on the immigration debate, you know, maybe we should discuss about putting some limits on who we allow and how many we allow to come into the country. That does not mean that you are against immigration. It does not mean that you're racist. And it doesn't mean that you know, want to break up families. It just means that you understand that there is a problem. Like, the one thing that is completely missing from the immigration debate is any recognition from the left or the Democrats that mass immigration also has negatives. And some of them are pretty big. Like, you can make a case for positives, sure. And, you know, we're all here to listen to it, but like, the Democrats just simply refuse to accept that there are any downsides to the current immigration policy. And that's just a non-starter, because there are. And it isn't racist to say that. That's just a fact of life. It doesn't matter the color of the skin on the bodies that come in here. It's the amount and number of the bodies. And then there's another discussion you could maybe get in with the quality or character of the people that you have when you have open borders. I mean, whatever. But like, to me, I think Western societies should be using their leverage, their powers, that we're one of the few countries in the world that everybody wants to come. That's a superpower. That's a massive strategic advantage, but you only exploit that advantage by picking and choosing who you want to come in. And I don't mean everyone's got to be rich. I don't mean everyone's got to be highly educated. What I want to see, I want to see educated people. I want to see young families. And I don't necessarily want to see a lot of single men from countries where you know, single men from 20 to 30 that are coming from countries where women aren't allowed outside in public without a man present. You know, I don't want that here. I want, if I'm going to see, you're either going to bring something to the table from your education, or you're just got a young family, kids, mother, father, husband, wife, where you're going to grow. Because if you show up here with kids, you are implicitly saying we all have aligned interests, right? One thing, I've traveled a lot all over the world. I know for the most part, I think our we're a lot more similar than we're different. The things that are different are superficial, you know, culture, like food, dress, the things that are similar for the most part. We all want a better world for our kids, right? We all want that. You come here with kids without knowing anything about you. I suspect that my interests are aligned with yours, and I want you here.
Jason, what do you think?
Nikki, you should have called this podcast two things can be true at the same time. Because that has been the crux of this entire wonderful conversation that we've had, that I've tried to shut up and let you guys talk more. From Stephen A. Smith's perspective, he's doing something right. Do you know why? Because when he speaks against the Democrats, he's called a sellout. When he speaks against the Republicans, he's called a leftist shill. The man is a registered independent. And if you knew his backstory and the shit he had to go to get where he is, you would definitely understand him better. He's from Hollis, Queens, New York, got left back from the 4th grade, dumb as dog shit, played a little basketball, got a scholarship at a historically black university called Winston-Salem University, had a journalist competition, 300 people won a journalist competition for the right to get in the door to Squire, you know, to bar back great journalists, climbed up, got lucky, used his opportunities, because we call that prepare for luck, right, Nico? We call it opportunity meets preparation. Right. We had a discussion about that, and the only thing I could say about Stephen A. Smith is just because you see where he stands doesn't mean you know how he got there. Now, with that being said, with the other part, I love what you guys said about immigration. We can't let everybody in, but let's give some people a chance. And I want to convey my personal disgust that everyone says it's not about race, but when it comes to illegal immigration, Mexicans are the only ones associated with that, and that's disgusting. I'm from New York. We have the Russian mafia there, right? For 40 years we had the Italian mafia here that the government themselves said doesn't exist. In the 80s and 70s, you were called a conspiracy theorist if you said that they existed, right? These people have a different hue, and I'm not saying everything's about race. I'm saying let's work together and get rid of the things that are about race.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. 100%.
The only thing I think you guys are both missing the point, though, because that's not why I wanted to show you the video. The reason I wanted to show you the video is that, you know, remember what we were talking about earlier. The people like Whoopi Goldberg are the powerful right now. They're the ones that are baby boomers, that have a shit ton of money, shit ton of influence. They're the same. Women like her and guys her age are the people running the everything in this country. They're the one at the head of the school boards. They're the one running the enterprises. They're the one running corporation. And when you have your own that is calling you up, or somebody that technically was supporting the Democrats, like if because at the beginning, like this guy, but that's what you just need to let me finish, bro. All I'm saying is when you have a guy that is exactly who the Democrats has been targeting forever, that was a supporter, telling you this is not right. We lost. Donald Trump didn't win. Basically, he's telling her, the most powerful people in the US and in Canada, that we lost because we don't even know what we stand for anymore. And when he challenged her, she couldn't even come up with somewhat of an answer. Her two things she pointed out made no sense. Yeah. That's not what he's talking about. You're talking about a party that was built on the people, to help the people on social issues. Where are the inequalities? And you've been focusing on dumb shit that nobody fucking cares about at the end of the day. It's just that you have so much power and so much viewership that people listen to you. But he proved to her right then and there that she had no fucking clue what she even stands for anymore. And that is the Democrat Party. Because you have a guy like Stephen Smith that I don't really like. I don't like him.
I love the guy. I watch First Take every morning.
Hold on. That's fine. That's your choice. That doesn't mean he's wrong. When I see a guy like that I don't agree with a lot of shit that he says, I will still post about him. I will still give him credit. And that's what I did this morning. I posted about him. I'm like, hey, man, I don't like to say this, but brother's right here. And Whoopi Goldberg needs to shut the fuck up because she doesn't know what she's talking about. This is the point I was trying to make is, again, this fits very well with the show, saying that it's not because I'm a more conservative guy that I can't look across the aisle and say, you know what, brother, he's actually pretty fucking right. Like, same thing when I say about a Featherman. I can agree with Trump and still agree with Featherman. I cannot support Ukraine without fucking supporting Russia. But when he called her out, and I love the way that he's like, "You're wrong. I've been here all along. Like, stop acting."
Yeah, that's
my point. Not only are they the
thing I
same
wanted
age,
to-
same fucking race too. So you can't play that shit. You can't play the race card on him. So it's brilliant. Like that.
What I found
that
really
little conversation
interesting
was
there
just brilliant. Just
was
brilliant.
how the left is essentially, almost become the cult of lived experience. Lived experience outweighs everything, right? Any sense of like, objective morals or whatever. Lived experience what matters. And yet they're very quick to dismiss any lived experience that does not align with the narrative. Like he's saying to her, no, like I know what you're saying that the messaging was, but I'm telling you as, a black man, that is not the messaging I heard. And you could just see they're like, well, they ignore the lived experiences that disagree with the narrative, uplift and center the lived experiences and take them as religious dogma, the ones that agree with it. And it doesn't help the credibility case.
And Nico, thank you very much for hammering your broader point that you were trying to make that we missed in the beginning, right? Because on the surface, this looks like Stephen A. Smith. This looks like shooting fish in a barrel, right? There are a lot of brilliant women in America, but none of them are on The View. And Stephen A. Smith knew he was going to have an easy fucking time at it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, Whoopi Goldberg's first name is Karen, right? So that's convenient. Her name is Karen. Her name is Karen Johnson, but that's her fucking name. So Stephen A. Smith, I think you're missing. You guys might be missing the point on people speaking from their lane. If you understand their lane, you're not going to hold them to account on things that they don't know. He is an American voter that happens to have a platform, and he's a conscientious observer, and he never professed to know everything about politics. And when you come into the conversation saying that, you have to give those guys leeway to think out loud, because like you said, those are the people that talk to everybody on both sides of the aisle. Like Will Cain was that he did First Take with is a staunch Republican. Max Kellerman's a Harvard guy, is a Democrat, right? Shannon Sharp, is an independent. So this guy, because sports brings everybody together. So he probably has a political pulse that's different, not better, not more, not less, but different, that he has to offer to us, just like Rogan does. Like Rogan, look at everyone on Rogan's podcast, right? And you like Nico, like Rob, the audience, if you're watching us, you have to give people permission to think out loud, because experts are not going to ask themselves the question they already know the answer.
And that's one of my big. So you go ahead. You go ahead.
The reason I don't like Smith is because he claimed a lot of dumb shit in the past, and one of them is that he would beat up a guy like Joe Rogan. See, that is to me, that is, bro.
That was fact check. He never said that.
Actually, no, I've seen the videos, bro. I've seen the videos myself where he claimed
it was the AI. It was fact checked. Stephen A. went to the media, said I never said that. So that's
brother, I've seen but I've seen the video and I've seen his post doubling down on it. So unless it was all hacked, everything that he did was hacked. He doubled down on that shit on other platforms.
Smith went on Twitter and said, "I trust me, I did not say that."
Bro, in any case. In any case,
all my point, but the point I'm trying to make here is that it does not matter how I feel about someone. If they're right, they're right. If they're wrong, they're wrong. This is the point I'm trying to make. I don't like Smith. I really don't. That doesn't mean he's wrong. That really, my feelings are irrelevant to the truth.
And that's sort of the crux.
Hold Jesus. One of the thing, and that's about you, because I was interviewed yesterday by two journalists from the UK that wanted to talk to what they call a men's rights activist. So they're two feminists that want to hear the other side of the story. And I called them out. On a couple of things. And this is something that applies to you, Rob, because you use that expression all the time. Often when you make a point, you say, I feel, or I'm feeling. And this is often the big difference between me, that based my opinion on facts, not my emotions, and the left. If you hear a lot of the left, always start with I feel. And they kept on doing it yesterday. And this is what Whoopi Goldberg was doing right now, is her opinion was not based on facts. It was based on, this is how I feel. This is how I feel about this issue, not facts. And this is something that the left as a whole needs to be very fucking careful to understand, that the way you feel doesn't make it wrong. I'm not saying that you're not feeling like that and that your feelings are not important, but they're not facts. And this is something I hear all the time, right? So it was just an asterisk because you say that all the time, and it makes me
I mean, I
just
push back a little. Just to push back a little. I do, choose that, but that's a little bit of semantical. I do, broadly speaking, tend to be fact-based, and I do have opinions, but my opinions and the way I feel come from the facts that I observe. I agree with you.
It's a dangerous
broader point.
way.
The broader point,
but it's just a dangerous way to start a sentence by I feel, because I sometimes say it and I'm catch myself. I'm like, you know what? This is the way I'm basing this on my personal experience. So basically, it's how I feel.
I definitely agree with the broader point that the left almost fetishizes feelings as if they are facts
over facts. Because I'm not saying that every time you're talking about this, that means it's just feelings. That's not what I'm saying. It's just if you're somebody like me that listens to every single word people say and analyze the way they put sentences together, that to me, it sounds like you're basing your opinions on feelings.
Agreed.
That's why I'm always very careful when I say it. I say, I feel because this is personal experience. This is not based on a study that I just watched. It's really my personal experience. This is the way I interpret what happened to me. So those are my feelings at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's fair.
Which your personal feelings might actually supersede the study if the study's done on the different demographic of people, right? If you're going to do a study on 11 black people and use that as a conclusion on how Nico, a Canadian, is supposed to feel, the study means less shit than Nico's feelings.
and there are you got to leave space for sometimes, like, when Jason's saying, why don't you like Stephen A. Smith? You might have a specific reason or fact, but it's okay to just be like, nah, I just don't like the guy. I don't have a reason.
Here's where the story came from, though, guys. Look. It all kicked off when a parody account posted a tweet supposedly from Stephen A. Smith saying, if my right hand lands on Joe Rogan, with all due respect, he's getting knocked out. It was from a parody account, and all of the MMA guys, including Josh Thompson, came to Joe Rogan's defense. It was
Jason's
you got honey dick
part of Stephen A. Smith.
You got honey dick, Nico, into fake news.
Maybe you are the one honey dicking Stephen A. Smith because you can't get off his balls.
We can
all
right?
No, but I don't know.
Down on that.
I'm fucking with you, bro.
I'm
just fucking with you.
We'll have a big honey dick after the show.
Yeah, he got honey dick.
All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter because it's not going to change my opinion. I've seen some pieces on him. I don't like him.
Okay,
like I just, there's some people that you just listen to. But the point I'm trying to make, and this is where we should focus, is that will never change the fact that they're right or wrong.
As long as
you can I don't like Smith,
I've got no issue.
To me, it does. They're not relevant to each other. I can dislike someone and say, you know what, Stephen A. Smith, I actually posted that same video this morning saying you.
Well, we owed it to your audience. You said something. We don't want your audience walking away and repeating information, right?
Misinformation
that may or may not be true. So that was important that we just point that one thing out. But I agree with you. There's just some people that rub me the wrong fucking way, like Chris Christie, right? There's nothing that guy's gonna say that's gonna make me like him. He's the very rotund former governor of New Jersey. The guy's huge, big as a fucking house.
I can see that. I'm seeing,
he ran for
it's hard for them to frame them into a picture. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, well, round is a shape for this guy. He's huge.
But there's as you were talking there, Nico, I was reminded of a famous quote. It goes something like, "It's a sign of an intellectual mind that can consider an idea without accepting it." And I think that's sort of what you're talking about, right? Like, as long as someone's able to separate the two things, my personal feelings about this person and the assessment of the statements coming out of their mouth. I mean, I got no problem with that. If someone says, I just don't like the guy, that's cool. But I don't want to, and this is, I think it's on both sides for sure. It seems to be a bit of a problem on the left, bigger problem, where we equate how much validity we give to a statement with how much we like that person. And that's just a completely wrong worldview. And it's just to the extent there's a point to the show, it's to try to get away from that kind of thing.
And the left is worse because they actually use fact checking that's incorrect.
Yeah,
they fact check somewhere, and when you fact check the
validity of the fact check
that was wrong. Like 60 Minutes, fact check Donald Trump's speech.
Yeah, but that always happens, man.
They had like the 3 bullet points. All 3 of them were not true. All 3 of them were wrong.
The validity of the fact check comes from if you like the fact checker.
Good, Nico.
But at the end of the day, it always goes with the fact that the left has had a monopoly on every single social media platform out there on fact checking. So this is so, but you know, to the broader point is this. There's a guy that told me this years ago, and I try to keep that in my mind every single time I listen to opinions of people I don't agree with, is that there's no such thing as great men, just great ideas. We're all fucked at the end of the day. There's all a million things. Like I can go back to my own content from 6 months ago and say, you know what? I don't agree with that, bro. And it's me. It's my fucking content. So I don't even agree with everything that I've said 6 months ago. So
it's
at the end of the day,
such a real man too because of that. So much respect, Nico.
I just wish that was more common. But at the end of the day, you know, we can disagree and still, like Rob he was trying to manage R2. I don't think he realized that I was mostly fucking with you. I don't even care that it's true or not. At the end of the day, good for you for calling me out if it's indeed fake. But at the end of the day, it's beside the point, right? I'm still gonna fuck with you. I thought it was funny to say that I don't like him and you can't get enough of his balls. So it's like, but I need to be able to tell you that because I know I'm not gonna hurt your feelings, and if I do, well, fuck your feelings. So,
before we go, I'd like to echo Nico's sentiment that Morgan Freeman in the movie Robin Hood. He said, "A wise man once told me there are no perfect men, only perfect intentions." And that's what he was saying. And I will finish and I will top off by saying this: perfection, greatness is man's failed attempt in his pursuit of perfection. Right? Greatness is achieved when men try to be perfect and fail. That's good. You know what? Nico's not perfect. He wound up just being great. Cool. Sweet. Glad to be that guy.
Not a bad place to be if I can.
Glad to be on your team, dude. You know, glad to be on team Nico. You know, and that's all I wanted to land with that. But Nico, very, very good sentiment.
Yeah, I like that quote.
Anything else you want to add? Because like we can close it right here.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to do it. A little bit overboard, but I mean, the Wednesday show is always a little bit like that. I mean, that's what the fans keep coming back for.
Let a man be a man. That's Nico. Let a man be a man, baby. Let's go. I'm going to
tell you to all the people out there, thank you for spending time with us. We know that your time is valuable, so we appreciate every single one of you. If you like what Jason stands for, make sure to give him a follow, a subscribe on YouTube at NY Varsity Sports. If you like Rob, I don't understand why, but if you do, you can follow him. You can follow him on X at Rob the Builder. If you like this show, make sure to follow us on X and on YouTube at the Political Orphans. And if you enjoyed my friend Shaxson and my bald head, you can follow me at Real Nico Lagan everywhere. And on that note, we shall see you tomorrow.
Thanks, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.